Alright, what's going on, everybody? Aaron P, what's going on? Alright, this is a long video, so let's just start right away.
AP's opening statement. AP, the floor is all yours.
Hello, everybody. Hello, James. First, I want to start with remembering that on October 7, Hamas, the terrorist organization known as the Islamic Resistance Movement by their own name, attacked Israeli civilians and killed over 1,200 people, mostly civilians. 100 days have passed over that. By now, there are still hostages, including babies, kept as we are speaking. So I want to show solidarity, remembrance, and also hope and express that the hostages are freed as soon as possible and that Hamas is destroyed as soon as possible.
Feeling a bit better today.
I want to start with thanking James for hosting this, and
yeah, I've already heard the Ben Shapiro song.
Also want to start my opponent. I also want to thank my opponent, Daniel Kikicu, who happens to be a very prominent advocate of pedophilia and also a Muslim apologist. I know some might say, why are you throwing that in?
He literally goes out of his way to debate his belief that it's okay to have sex with children. So yeah, he's a fucking pedophile.
Isn't that kind of poisoning the well? But I have to say, it's not every time that you get to speak to somebody who says that a man might marry or can marry and have sex with a girl that is 7 years old, 6, 5, 4, 3, or possibly even, under the circumstances, 11 months old. Let's start with the debate topic. So the debate topic is Islam versus Judaism. Which religion is responsible for the Israel-Palestine conflict? I initially didn't really like the topic. It is one that General Kikicu offered, and I eventually accepted because he would not accept anything else. He insisted that we go with this title, and any slight change to it would make him reject this and back out of it, the very debate that he offered. Fine, I'm okay with that. Let's talk about Islam then. One side in this conflict, in the war that has been going on since October 7 now, is Hamas. The other side is Israel. Israel is a largely secular Jewish nation, country, that is built on secular Jewish values, which makes very little reference to Judaism in its Declaration of Independence, in its basic laws, and even in the very foundation which forms modern Zionism, which is, for example, Theodor Herzl's article, the Judenstaat, the Jewish state, or even his novel, which kind of puts it into a utopian, beautiful form, which is called the Old New Land. On the other hand, we have Hamas representing the Palestinians. Hamas is a terrorist organization that has engaged in suicide bombings, attacks on civilians deliberately, has justified those, and it is called the Islamic Resistance Movement. It is very clear from Hamas's own declarations, from its own covenant, its own charter, that its aim is to preserve and establish Islamic values and an Islamic state. In fact, Hamas leaders themselves make it very obvious that they want to establish Islam and lead with Islam. Sorry, I'm trying to share my screen here, but for some reason I don't get the right screen shared. It's kind of changed, isn't it? All right, here, okay. So I want to start with this narration here. Now, this is a report which is attributed to Muhammad. The vast majority of Muslims around the world are Sunni Muslims. Sunni Muslims make up more than 80% of the Muslim world. They believe that Muhammad made prophecies about the future, about the end times, and this is one of those prophecies. According to
Richard, have you ever seen the Taken movies with Liam Neeson? I saw the first two today. They were pretty badass.
I only saw the first movie. I didn't see any of the others. The first one was fun, for sure. Yeah, I just didn't have any interest in watching the others. They just seemed like kind of shameless cash grabs. Thanks for the donation, Negroes in Paris.
Sunni Muslim studies. and studies of reports about Muhammad. This is undoubtedly verified and authentic. In this prophecy, Muhammad is reported to have said, "The hour will not come unless the Muslims will fight the Jews."
Someone said roaming millennial is carnivore and I thought it was satire or they just meant omnivore. But holy fucking shit, she is actually on the carnivore diet. What in the actual fuck? When she debated you she seemed more just like average omni, but WTF.
Well, she's stupid, like irretrievably fucking stupid. So, I'm assuming she's probably likely doing it partly because Jordan Peterson and Michaela Peterson are doing it. As far as I understood, she didn't have any like big health problems before. So she's probably just stupid and just doing it because people she likes are following a carnivore diet. But hopefully she chokes on her next meal. Thanks for the donation, Fuel.
Jews and kill them. Fight the Jews and kill them until the Jews hide behind a stone or a tree. And a stone or a tree will say, "Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him." But the garget tree would not say, "For it is the tree of the Jews." So allegedly there is this tree called a garget tree in this strange fantasy world that exists, which Muhammad initiated. And that specific tree is an evil tree, like the Jews. Other trees and rocks will leave the Jews away and will say, "Come and kill him." Now, this is not something that just came into existence today. This is not something that came into existence since the creation of Israel or since the beginning of the 20th century. This is something that was in existence, was reported as early as the 8th century, 9th century, or maybe possibly even the 7th century, around the time of Muhammad. This is no coincidence, because in Muhammad's time, the Jews were not treated very well. He initially liked the Jews. Later, he ended up persecuting them, expelling them, exterminating them, and so on. And it is also prominently said that Muhammad wanted to expel the Jews. He made that very clear. This hadith is not something that is just found in Islamic history and in Islamic belief, and has nothing to do with the conflict. Here is an excerpt from the Hamas Covenant, 1988, in which they make one thing very clear. They say that they aspire to fulfill or look forward to Allah's promise, no matter how long that should take. And they then say, the Prophet, Allah bless him and grant him salvation, has said, "The day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews, killing the Jews, when the Jew will hide behind stones and trees, and the trees say there's a Jew behind me, come and kill him." So very same narrative, again, found right here in the charter, the covenant of none other than
Dodonate tellers, can you watch the rest of the TYT Israel debate? Also, imagine being in this train. Let me see.
This map is from 1905. Look at that. Palestine. Not Israel. Palestine. 1922 world map. What does it say? Palestine. 1928, Palestine. 1932, National Geographic World Map, Palestine. 1935, National Geographic World Map, Palestine. 1938, Palestine. 1939, World War II map, Palestine. 1939, Palestine. 1940, Palestine.
How is this at all news to anybody? Okay. Let's see. Dude, I would start so much shit if I had to share a train with these fucking morons. I'd love to see these fuckers fight me. Fucking pieces of shit. Thanks for that donation, Dodo. We'll check out the rest of the 2IT debate right now. Can do that. Aaron P. Donate tellers, why are you streaming tonight? FU, lol, the WWE Royal Rumbles tonight, and I'm watching a 24-hour race. Have you seen a 24-hour race? I'm feeling like I'm a bad YouTuber. Advice or thoughts on this? I don't think you're a bad YouTuber. You're pretty funny and entertaining, at least to me. But thanks for the donation, Aaron P. Fuel donators, she says she had countless blood tests and doc visits and she was healthy but was always sick and felt awful. Then her doc told her to eat the diet that makes her feel good, then saw Jordan Peterson. Okay, so she's a fucking idiot.
Carnivore diet is basically a diet where people restrict themselves to eating only animal products like beef, pork, chicken, taco.
Yeah, so she's literally just doing this because Jordan Peterson does it. She's a fucking idiot. Like, genuinely one of the dumbest people I've ever fucking come across. Thanks for the donation, Fuel.
The position.
Terrorist, right?
But you add, no, not terrorist.
Of course he's a terrorist. He just said from the river to the sea, and he's actually doing it.
He said
he's
for
20
security.
times the terrorist
I will
Hamas
be
is.
with you if he actually
He's
encourages
doing it,
the
man. What more do you need? 48,000?
Not one person's been displaced out of Gaza.
Are
Not
you
one.
insane?
Out of Gaza. Not
out
one.
of Gaza.
Not
Sorry,
one.
it's squished into
But
a
that's
little
what you're
corner when
saying
they're
he's
being
doing.
bombed.
That's what you're saying he's doing. Why doesn't Egypt allow any refugees? Why doesn't
Because that's the displacement.
No,
Come on, don't be thick-headed.
voluntary displacement, like happens in every war. At the beginning, at the beginning of the
Voluntary? Did you just say that was a voluntary displacement?
What was? No, if the possibility of going into Egypt would be voluntary, like in the first month of the Ukraine-Russia war, 5.9 million people were allowed in, but for some reason, the Gazan people's neighbors, their fellow Muslims, don't allow them in. Not one person. They condemn.
Yeah, it's because everybody knows they're fucking pieces of shit.
Them to death.
That's the ethnic cleansing when you drive them from their homes.
During
Like, what is his explanation for this? Like, no other Muslim country will allow any fucking refugees from Gaza in. Like, what does that tell you?
war, temporary
Yes,
displacement.
One thing. So Ben, you and I agree that we have no support of, or we agree that the Netanyahu government is extremist and is disproportionately violent. Do you agree with that?
I agree they are extremists,
Okay.
and I agree they are not a partner for peace.
Yeah, they're not particularly violent. They are extremists. Like, he's tried to do things to, you know, undermine democracy.
And I do not agree they're
not a partner for peace.
disproportionately.
Okay,
I agree with that.
No, let's.
But proportion
find
is not a
areas
standard used in
Sure.
war. You try to win
Yes,
a
it
war.
is.
Sure,
No,
so-
it's not.
It's what war
I'm
crimes are
curious-
all about. That.
No, it is not.
I'm
It's
curious
about
how
appropriate.
I'm curious how there can
actions
be a
versus
future
others.
with a government that has absolutely no interest in it.
If you need proportionality, then the United States committed war crimes by attacking the Japanese because, what, like 50 people died in Pearl Harbor?
There needs to be an election. There can't be. There can't be.
But and how can that future even come to be when both the U.S. is unconditionally backing and the Netanyahu government, because it has so much leverage,
not
because we're not doing
backing.
anything,
It's
is
not
doubling
unconditionally
down
backing.
on its
It's not.
extremist
It is.
policy.
With
Blinken
their
is saying
action.
there needs to be two states.
He hasn't done anything.
Action.
Ben,
Action.
That's
Show
what
one
they're
piece of
doing.
action.
They've one piece of action. They convinced Netanyahu's government to do a temporary ceasefire, to release Palestinian prisoners for hostages. Those were positions he was not into agreeing to, and they convinced him. Those are the things they convinced him to do. So you can yell all you want, Cenk, and you can sweat about it all you want.
Netanyahu wasn't even going to do that deal where they released their own hostages.
That's my understanding. That's
so
correct.
Netanyahu is such a terrorist monster. He wasn't even going to release the Israeli hostages. We had to talk him into it.
No, he was
We had
not.
to talk him into releasing his own getting his hostages back. Congratulations to us.
releasing
We
more
convinced Israel to get their
Palestinian
hostages
prisoners.
back.
But we have to understand that people in Gaza are trapped there. They have no basic services, and they're just being attacked writ large. I understand.
So how do you suggest Hamas gets removed from power?
Right,
What do you suggest?
I have an
no,
idea.
hold on. Before I have no defense of Hamas, but I do want to understand in context how they came to be. We do know they were democratically elected. I'm not saying they're
Exactly.
and any. Yeah,
so then, do the people have any responsibility for that? If they're
Do the Israeli people have responsibility? Are you in favor of terrorism? Are you saying because Israel's a democracy, they're responsible for the terrorist Netanyahu and they should be attacked?
But most.
This is just the most loaded question I've ever fucking heard in my life. Cenk is such a dishonest twat.
People in Hamas
Civilians
now.
have no responsibility. Yes, I want them to vote the right way, both in Gaza and in Israel. But if you start saying the civilians have responsibility, you're saying terrorism is
Every
okay.
nation
population,
bears
Ben,
some
was not
degree
even
of
formed.
responsibility for its leaders.
but
of
That's
course.
what Hamas says.
Latvia's part of Russia, or Latvia's part of Russia, donated $2. Yes, the imperialist U.S. attack on Japan, Hiroshima, Nagasaki was genocide. This is news for you. So, the nuclear bombing was a little more complicated than it just being a genocide. at the time, they thought that using those nuclear bombs would actually prevent more deaths because they figured the war would go on for a much longer period of time if they didn't get the Japanese to surrender. It's not as simple as that. And I'm not just talking about the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You could, like, fucking argue that... What is it? What was the fucking island that they fought on? Like, any of the fucking conflicts with the Japanese, you could say were war crimes because, oh, only 50 people died in Pearl Harbor, but, like, fucking, what, 100,000 or something fucking died in Iwo Jima and shit? Thanks for the donation, though. Latvia's part of Russia.
Fuck Jenk in the ass and call him Skippy. Hopefully he gets a heart attack soon or chokes on his next meal.
We can only hope. Thanks for the donation, Majin Buu.
Ben, be careful.
Jenk and Ben, half the population in Gaza was not even born when these folks were elected.
How are you feeling tonight? You still sound a little sick. New Frank vids to watch.
Yeah, I'm still a bit sick. I'm feeling better. I'm slowly getting unsick. There are some new Frank vids to watch. How about we finish the Young Turks video, then we'll watch some of these Frank Tufano vids, and then we'll go back to the debate with Apostate Prophet and Daniel Hakikajo. Thanks for that donation, Sam.
Elected. Sure. All they've known is a world of cages and deprivation.
And education that makes them want to kill Jews as well.
I don't know how much
what
of
cages?
This is education.
What cages?
Gaza is an open-air prison, right? You wouldn't agree with that? No, I mean, it's blockaded. I mean, it was next to impossible in the time.
The reason why it's fucking blockaded is because Hamas is firing rockets and committing terrorist attacks, idiot.
I've been in the Sinai, so not in Israel, like full disclosure. But in the only way
you were invited in there many times.
Oh no, I was invited to Gaza.
Who cares about being there?
I've been
we can all read. We all have eyes.
It's not about that. It's about trying to understand the situation and condition within which Palestinians are living, and trying to just sort of have some compassion for that. I'm not calling. I'm not calling you anything. But you've noticed.
I appreciate it. Nor am I you, but I have tons of compassion for them. But I've been trying to explain forever these terms.
I have a great suggestion for a reacting to. Watch the Heaven's Gate initiation tapes on stream. Insane ramblings from cult leader who thought they'd board an alien spacecraft upon their suicide.
We've already watched them on stream before. So, I don't know if it's worth watching again, but I've already watched them on stream before. Thanks for the donation, Veggie Metal.
Terms that get thrown around despite as many times as you and I debate about this, Cenk, and you don't have an answer to this, then the next time I'm on, you still say ethnic cleansing. It is not ethnic cleansing if the 2 million Arab Palestinians in Israel proper are treated with full rights. It is simply the existential threat coming from the government of the people in Gaza. If you can't separate that, you can't ever have an intelligent conversation about it that's gonna ever evolve.
Okay, hold on. He's addressing me. So, Ben, look, we've yelled at each other, we've said nasty things about each other, including in this segment. But let's be clear, okay? So when you say that it's not ethnic cleansing to drive 85% of the people of Gaza out of their home, that sounds ludicrous.
How in the fuck is that ethnic cleansing? I mean, there's a war going on there. Is like any war ethnic cleansing by definition because people are driven from their homes?
You might think it sounds fine, and Israeli supporters might think, oh yeah, I got 100 talking points, and it sounds great to us. But the rest of the world, I know you don't believe me, but the rest of the world goes, that's not ethnic cleansing? What the hell's ethnic cleansing?
Well,
if driving 85% of the people out of their homes, destroying 70% of the buildings,
punishment, right?
and now destroying the graves, which is the next story we're going to get to. So if that's not ethnic cleansing, I don't know what your definition of ethnic cleansing is.
It is while trying to remove Hamas, who you will admit fortifies itself in every bit of buildings. I was just there. I spoke off the record for over an hour to battalion commanders who explained that in 80% of homes they go into, there are weapons found, there are Hamas properties found there, tunnels under all kinds of
Did you
homes.
get to speak to Gazans who are suffering?
No, I
this
wasn't able to
onslaught?
get into Gaza.
Yeah, I know, because
I did go to the West Bank. I did
Because
go
if
to the
you
West
got
Bank.
into Gaza, they would have probably killed you too.
I did go to the
Those same battalion commanders would have killed you, just like they killed the Israeli hostages. And
here
you're
we
walking
go.
around in Gaza. Oh, oops! I accidentally killed 24,000 people.
Does that not prove the fact that they've also killed their own people? Does that not prove that it's just the incredibly dense facts of this area? They're not. If they're so able to
it proves
intentionally
the exact
do it.
opposite. No, they're not even asking. They're not even asking, who are you? What are you a threat? No, just kill.
Like, there are more bombs dropped than there have been deaths. So more bombs have been dropped than people have died. Like, what does that fucking tell you?
Oh, damn it, it was Israelis. We meant to murder Muslims. God damn it, we made a mistake.
I'm so happy for you that you've never been in war and never had to deal with the decision of in the moment trying to
in the
decide.
moment against shirtless guys, cowards, terrorists.
Shirtless guys, they asked them to take their shirts off to make sure they didn't have
the Israeli
suicide
hostages.
belts on them.
The Israeli hostages, they had no shirts, they had a white flag, and the IDF murdered them because they thought, oh, good Muslims, let's kill them. And damn it was Jews.
Yeah, again, so somehow he's able to read the minds of people he's never met from all the way across the globe. Like, what it seems to me is they were just startled by two dudes who just jumped out of nowhere, and then they just, shot, not really thinking.
We didn't mean to kill you guys. We only meant to murder Muslims.
And I just visited wounded troops in a hospital in Israel, a hospital that is still treating Palestinians who are wounded as well, as they always do, because Israel actually acts with morality in what it does. And even when trying to take precautions going into areas, this young man was shot, two that I spoke with, shot in both legs while his commander was murdered, sitting there in a field when they're trying to go.
Murdered. He was a commander in the battle. He died in battle.
Right.
Okay, now is
That's
that terrorism
murder.
too?
Being what?
Be killed in battle?
Is being killed in battle terrorism?
Like you're saying.
Yeah, Jank, when you're murdered by a terrorist, that's called murder.
He was murdered, he was killed in battle, right?
Well, which terms are you going to use? Because you're calling it murder on one side, so I'm going to call it murder on the other side.
No, murder is civilians. When you murder civilians, right? Not when you kill soldiers.
Sure.
Okay, anyway, it's a small point. Keep going.
Sure. So these people are trying to stop an existential threat that has continued forever. Do you think that only the Israeli people should suffer in fear forever? Do you think? Why do you laugh at that? Why do you laugh at that?
Let me put
There were 9 terrorist attacks while I was there. That's okay with you to continue forever? So how does it stop? So how does it stop?
In a second, but Ramesh, you go, and then I got to tell her how it actually stops.
Look,
real quick.
I understand, and I understand where you're coming from, Ben. I mean, and I also don't claim to have the specific knowledge of being there, but I do think it's important we understand where Hamas came from and how these sets of actions are creating Hamases, more and more Hamases, so to speak, and the recognition that there has been a calculation made by the IDF and or the Israeli leadership that it's worth going after this densely populated area, killing now 24,000 plus people, 10,000
of which 9,000 are Hamas fighters.
Sure.
So the
calculation
that's
was
a total
that
idea of lie propaganda.
So you believe Hamas numbers? You believe
I don't believe
terrorist
either.
numbers?
I
But that's what you
believe
cite all the
human
time.
rights
You cite it all the time.
Human rights
and they are
groups.
using Hamas's numbers.
Yeah, but either way,
no, according to you, no Hamas. You go like this to me during a debate.
No
Hamas has been killed.
So
How many?
Yeah, so they'll use Hamas's numbers, then they'll say, oh, but that's coming from the Red Cross. The Red Cross just parrots what Hamas says. Like, same with the UN. Even, like, UN figures, like, they're just going off of what Hamas says. And they're acting as if, the figures from Hamas are more accurate than anything that Israel will provide.
Many? None?
Guys.
I don't know. I trust the human
The
rights
number is
groups.
9,000.
No, it's
so
not.
you accept numbers from the
IDF
other side, yet you don't on the other side. And you
100%
also wait, hold on. Very important for the record. You also say the world agrees. The world does not agree. Jamie Raskin, who you just cited, who I had coffee with just 3 weeks ago, also, as I agree with what he's now putting up to make sure that Gazans do not get.
When was the last time you faced racism in public? Darky.
I don't know. I don't really notice those sorts of things. Like, I've been profiled by cops before, but that was like years ago. That's got to be like over 15 years now. Thanks for the donation. My taint is itchy.
Displaced.
Dodo donated $2. Let me
If
see.
you're out there going, oh, they're just after Donald Trump, why can't we talk about policies? All right, well, let's talk about the policies. One, he has said he wants the economy to crash.
When there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months.
And number two, he's made it very clear. He said, I want to keep the border open. Open for fentanyl.
And yay, we overturned Roe.
Oh, yeah. They want to keep that right away. 3.
I got rid of Roe v. Wade. I was able to do it, and I was very honored to do it.
And number 4, they want to take away your health care.
Is seriously looking at alternatives to the Affordable Care Act if he were to win next year's presidential election. Obamacare sucks.
Democrats, are you listening?
Dude, wanting to get rid of the Affordable Care Act is absolutely insane.
There are people who say they left their body, they come above and they see themselves down there on the bed. So what they decided to do is for people who are about to die, they would write a message facing upwards to the ceiling above the bed. So if a person goes above their bed and looks down, they'd be able to read the message. So when they rejoin their body, they should then tell us what message they saw. That's never happened. It's just, now, I have a cousin, when her father died, was alone with him in the room, and he's in an open casket. She tells me of a conversation she had with her dead father. And I said, was it in your mind? No, he sat up. I said, what was the conversation? And she said, well, he said, don't worry about him. He's in a better place. This is her eyewitness testimony. I'm not going to say it's wrong. I'm just saying it's not scientifically useful. I told her, next time this happens, ask these questions and not those questions. Don't say, are you happy? No, say, are you wearing clothes? Where are you? What temperature is it? Because if a dead person sits up and starts talking to me, oh my God.
Yeah. Under Trump's order, the MAGA Republicans have decided to go full-blown treason. Let's fuck up the border and blame Biden is the mantra. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck MAGA GOP, you anti-American motherfuckers. Yep. That's crazy that they're listening to Trump on that.
The United Auto Workers endorsed President Biden on Wednesday, joining several other transportation unions, including the National Air Traffic Controllers Association and the Brotherhood of Railroad Signalmen.
Although there is one transportation union that endorsed former President Trump.
Hello. As the president of the United Crash Test Dummy Union, I'd like to say we fully support Donald Trump. We are aligned on so many things. Destruction, severe head trauma,
And anomalous.
and spending time with Jeffrey Epstein. Our union also supports building the wall so we can do this. 4 more years.
All right, well, thanks, Dodo.
Have you played Cyberpunk 2077 yet? It's hands down the best game I've ever played, and not to sound too parasocial, but I feel like you'd dig it too based on what I've learned over the years. If you have played it, do you have thoughts?
I've played the game through the entire campaign on stream, and yeah, it's really good. It's one of my favorite games. Thanks for the donation, Gatro.
We need Trump in the USVG. Without him, our cucked government is going to accept a ton of Muslim immigrants. I hope they go to Canada so you realize the immigration problem. Richard Burgess, you need to understand. Ricky Burgess. Sticky Ricky.
Well, Trump's the one who is preventing a fucking border deal from being made, so, yeah, clearly they're not interested in actually fixing the border. Thanks for that donation, Majin Buu.
Like, Jesus Christ. You think Cenk would have come up with something original than the same lame claims that's been debunked from every time he's been debated? At least the ICJ claimed that Israel is not committing genocide. What a joke.
Yeah, he's kind of an idiot. He doesn't have any actual arguments, and he just uses emotional pandering. It's really all he has. Thanks for the donation, Grey Knight. Fuel donators, do you think Trump can win? Well, it's possible, but he probably won't. Worried he'll drop out of NATO and fuck over the world? Well, yeah, that's a possibility. Thanks for the donation, Fuel.
He also refused to sign a ceasefire now only agreement that didn't call for the release of hostages. And the entire European Union just passed a non-binding resolution 312 to 131. That's all they can pass is non-binding. It's not their country to make sure that a permanent ceasefire happens only with the immediate unconditional release of all hostages and Hamas surrendering. So a big part of the world agrees the only way to end this cycle of violence is for Hamas to stop. Yet no one puts pressure. Nobody puts pressure on the terrorists, only on the people being attacked.
The Only Path donators, have you seen this AR rap? Yeah, I've seen it already. Somebody linked it to me. Okay. Hope that lemur bites him. It's a really nice lemur. I really like lemurs. They're really cool. You want more rubs? Keep going. Oh my god, lemurs are so smart. Dude, I wish I could have a lemur friend. Look at him. Look at his toes. Look at his little hands. Oh my god. That's a really nice lemur.
It's your mom. Hey, Oren. Can I turn on the light? It's a little dark in here and I can't see.
Yeah, I've seen that stupid Dr. Phil episode.
So I'm excited today for this new venture.
Cool. Wow. That's a good deer. Alright, thanks for that donation, The Only Path.
Over and over and over again.
I just submit to you that the acts that the IDF have committed are also terrorist acts. And I also submit to you that...
Right, so apparently defending yourself from a terrorist regime is a terrorist act. Dude, this guy needs to get his fucking face punched in.
There's been a calculation made that it's worth killing this many civilians to get this many Hamas members, whether it's your stats or Cenk's stats.
That's literally the case in every single war. Anytime you're fighting a war, you're going to have some amount of civilian casualties, and that's a calculation you're going to have to make.
And no. But the war could be stopped right now if Israel made a decision. But what does it mean?
Sorry, the war could be stopped if Israel stops. Okay, so Israel's just supposed to get attacked by terrorists indefinitely, and they can't do anything about it.
But what does it mean for Hamas to surrender? They're never going to surrender because they've been emboldened by all the things that Israel has done.
Dude, these people are just fucking deranged. Like, again, this guy will mention the fucking blockade around Gaza. The only reason there's a fucking blockade around Gaza is because of Hamas. Like, any fucking time you point to Palestinians being, like, mistreated in some way, it's because they've committed terror attacks. So, like, show me any fucking instance of Palestinians getting land taken away, getting their rights taken away, getting bombed, that wasn't a retaliatory action to something that they did. This guy genuinely needs to get his fucking nose broken. Like, what a fucking dickhead. Mike donated $2. Would you agree the people who drive pickup trucks like Dodge Rams, Ford F-150s, and so on are generally the biggest douchebags and assholes on the road? Can't stand them. Yeah, generally speaking, they're fucking morons, and usually they don't even need trucks. Thanks for the donation, Mike.
killed and they have no chance to win. So why would they not surrender? Why would they not surrender?
And most countries in the world support a permanent ceasefire.
Guys, there's only
the release of hostages.
Exactly. That's what I support. That's what I support. But that's what I support.
Let me give you the actual.
I'm fine with all that, except I don't think the Hamas surrender thing will ever happen.
Nonsense.
What do we they should be allowed to kill Israelis forever, and then Israel
just let me say what the damn answer is.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, okay. Look, guys, there's only one way that this ends. Number one, America has to put tremendous pressure on Israel. Take all the money away instantly. Number two, the Israeli people, I believe in their morality and their decency. Please, I'm begging you, Israeli people.
$20 betraying your country used to be called treason, now it's called being Republican.
Let's just keep it real facts. Don't care how you feel, man. If you want my the man who don't respect.
Let's look at the stats. I've got the facts. My money like Lizzo, my pockets are fat. Homie, I'm epic. Don't be a wap. Dog, it's a yarmulke. Homie, no cap. Look at the graphs. Look at my charts. You're blowing money on strippers and cars. You going to prison. I'm on television. Dogs, no one knows who you are.
Yeah, we've already seen that clip. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Please. Okay, vote Netanyahu and the right-wing government out. Put in Benny Gantz or whoever it is, and go towards a two-state solution. So now, how do you get the two-state solution so that Israel can be safe and can live in peace? The whole point of Israel was for the Jews to be safe because they've been.
Luna's Revenge, $20. Did you know that Palestinians also fucked up Lebanon in the 70s and 80s? Yeah, Lebanon was very Western and had many Christians back then. But when the Palestinian refugees entered the country, a fucking war between Muslims and Christians broke out. Yep. Similar thing happened in Jordan, and similar thing happened in Egypt. Everywhere they go, they start problems. That's why no Muslim country will accept any Palestinian refugees. And fucking assholes like Jank won't fucking acknowledge that. And he just treats fucking Palestinian people as if they're infantile fucking innocent little children. Thanks for the donation, Luna's Revenge.
Slaughtered all across the world for time immemorial.
I agree with all that.
It was supposed to be a safe haven. Absolutely. So how do you do it? You get somebody, whether it's Benny Gantz or not, to go and work with the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority, at that point, putting pressure on Palestinians, not Hamas, because Hamas is never going to bend to pressure, but Palestinian Authority can. That is a reasonable way to go.
What? Hamas is the Palestinian Authority. What the fuck is he talking about?
You get the entire Arab world and America to put pressure on the Palestinian Authority to do a peace deal with.
Hamas is the Palestinian Authority. What is he talking about?
The Israeli government. And that's the two-state solution. Then you take the Palestinian Authority and you put them in Gaza and say, hey, they just got you a state.
The problem is many Gazans don't respect the Palestinians.
I know. Hold on.
Hamas will throw them off rooftops again like they did in 2007.
I agree. Listen. No, Hamas, of course, is going to fight Palestinian Authority. That gives you a sense that maybe you could do a deal with the Palestinian Authority. And so will they try to throw them off rooftops? Of course, but that's why the Saudis, the Jordanians, the Americans all have to help the Palestinian Authority establish that authority in Gaza. And
so basically, they have to wage war with Hamas. This guy is such an idiot, dude. Like, oh my god, Jenk's a fucking moron. Kid Boo donated $2. This dude is a pedo apologist. YouTube not only needs to ban him, but he should have the police on his doorstep.
Do you think fornication is prohibited?
Well, yeah,
Sex outside of marriage is wrong. And it is condemned by God. It is condemned by God. So which scenario is more immoral? Scenario 1, a 10-year-old girl who has completed puberty gets legally married with the consent of her parents to a good believing Christian man who is 25. Scenario 2, a 10-year-old girl has a 10-year-old boyfriend and they fornicate whenever they want. Which is more immoral?
I don't have to answer that because that's an either-or situation.
One or the other.
Both are immoral, Daniel.
You did not say that was more immoral. Okay, got it.
I have no reason to say one or more.
Well, according to the Bible, you do have a reason to say it because the Bible explicitly condemns sex out of marriage, but it has nothing to say about.
Yeah, Daniel Hakikajo is a pedophile piece of shit. He should be put in jail, honestly. Thanks for that donation, Kid Boo.
And to your point, Ramesh, will they have credibility going in? No, because right now they look like they work with the occupiers in the West Bank. But if they were able to deliver a Palestinian state, then they would have the credibility to be able to do the deal.
Palestinians have the right to live in dignity, in peace, with medical care, with health care.
Israelis,
of course they do.
So
every human being should have that right, right?
Yes,
that's what we should protect at all costs, not the killing of people.
Ben, it's not a question. I'm just saying one last thing. Okay, look, Ben. Do not misinterpret all the yelling back. I'm irate over the deaths of those Palestinians and how they have greatly suffered. I was irate over October 7th, and now I'm irate over this. And yes, this is.
Yeah, sure. That's why he's, talked so much about other Arab tragedies like, Syria, all the fucking Syrian refugees, all the innocent people and mass murders that occur. Oh, no, wait, he didn't. He doesn't give two fucking shits about fucking Palestinians. He just wants to shit on fucking Jews. Cenk is just an anti-Semite. He hates Israel. And he's just using this as an opportunity to shit on Israel. He doesn't care about fucking Arabs. If he did, you'd see him talk about things like, the Syrian refugee crisis, all the fucking, the actual genocide that occurred in Syria, all the innocent people who lost their lives there, but you never see him talk about anything like that. And it's just because he only cares about hating Jews and hating Israel. He doesn't care about fucking Arabs. Dodo donates $2. Pretty sure the US and Canada have accepted more Palestinian refugees than Turkey, Lebanon, and Egypt combined. Yeah, they have. Also, I hate how Republicans are trying to take down their own country, refusing to support aid for Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan, even the border now. Yeah. Republicans are literally a fucking cancer. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
20 times the numbers, etc. But Ben, we are not, the number one reason I'm angry at Israel is not just because they're brutalizing the Palestinians, but because they are going further away from peace and security. Because this is going to just lead to more war and more anger and more.
Please show me the evidence that killing your enemy leads to more war. Like, it's kind of funny how nobody ever, raised this sort of, problem when we were fighting Nazis. If we kill all these Nazis, it's just going to create more Nazis. Like, it's strange how this has never been a fucking problem in any other conflict, but somehow when it comes to fighting Hamas, okay, apparently killing Hamas terrorists creates more Hamas terrorists.
More terrorism and more violence. It's never going to stop until you make a deal. And if you say, hey, they blew it in the past, and we've had that debate.
Make a deal with jihadist Islamic terrorists. Right. Let's see how well that works out, Cenk.
I got you. Today's a new day. Go to the Palestinian Authority now.
Hamas has no power or even any respect, as Ramesh said. So the problem there being, you can't make a peace deal with people who aren't in power. You need to remove Hamas from power.
We never said Hamas.
But Palestinian Authority has no respect or even any standing in the polls.
Now you're being
It's true. It could be any.
They have no respect. Nobody, if there is an election, a boss would be overthrown, and everybody, even in the West Bank, wants Hamas to take power.
It could
just,
be
you don't want to deal then.
You do. But the only way this works is you remove the Netanyahu government with elections and you remove Hamas. You must do both.
Okay.
You must do both.
We've all
That's why the European Union agrees with that.
Okay, yes. You guys decide what you think.
Cenk's a complete fucking tard. He doesn't know jack shit. That was just fucking embarrassing. All right, let's see. Frank Tufano.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh my God, what's going on? What's up, guys? New year, new me. I came up.
Is this just random clips he put together? Yeah, I'm not watching that. All right, let's watch these stupid fucking shorts he made. Made a lot of fucking stupid shorts. BMO, get the fuck out of my bread. Out. Oh my god. Get out.
How often should you incorporate processed sugars, if any? Try not to, because they increase the body's need for like vitamin C and anti-scorbutic value, but
sugar does not increase the need for vitamin C. That's just a myth.
Personally do it like when I'm really hungry.
Jesse Lee Peterson destroys Hasanabai on the Allahu Akbar people. Skip to 345.
345.
You say that you at one time was a Muslim, right?
Well, I was raised in a Muslim family, but they were very progressive. My father still considers himself a Muslim, even though he doesn't follow like the 5 pillars or whatever. He never went to Hajj or anything. And my mother is probably not. My mother's not very religious.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is Islam a religion?
Yes.
It is.
It's one of the 3 Abrahamic religions, as far as I know.
And is it a religion of peace?
Yes.
Well, why do they chop off people's head and hold women back and throw homosexuals from the rooftops and they want to take over other countries? And they even say you can lie. They can say you can lie to the
Can we just
Christians.
pause for a brief moment?
Yeah.
Dude. How the fuck is Jesse Lee Peterson more based than Hassan on anything?
You want to tell me about your personal black experience and use that as empirical evidence, as fact. But when I try to tell you about Muslims, you're like, nope, that doesn't work that way. I have my own perspective. If you have actual evidence to back up your claims, then we could have a conversation. Maybe I could describe where you are confused.
How about Allahu Akbar?
This means God is great.
Right, when they're about to kill you, blow you up, or chop off your head, or make sure women don't drive, or cut off their private parts. And
how about
in the
this?
name of Allahu Akbar. I rest my case.
Christianity has far more bodies.
Dude,
that's not true.
That's not true.
Absolutely true.
No,
that is not true.
Then answer me this question then. When George W. Bush said, "God told me to invade Iraq and Afghanistan," why do we not consider that a Christian genocide, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan?
Because that was just one person, but Christianity is for
it's just
all.
one person.
I mean, but
what about a lot of the military members who
I bet you would not go back to your country and say, "I'm no longer a Muslim." They'll kill you.
No, they wouldn't.
Yes, they would.
You have no idea about Turkey, do you, sir? No,
well,
Turkey.
You wouldn't go to the Muslim and tell them that.
Turkey currently has a. Well, first of all, Turkey's a secular democratic republic.
Well, you may can go to Turkey,
hardly.
but you wouldn't go to a Muslim country.
Turkey is a Muslim country. It's 98% Muslim.
You would not say that I'm no longer Muslim.
I say it all the time.
Not to them.
Yes, I do.
Amazing.
There are plenty of atheists who are, or there are plenty of agnostic Turkish people, and there are plenty of progressive Muslims who don't subscribe to a lot of the things that you're mentioning. As a matter of fact, the overwhelming majority of Muslims are not a part of the monolith, the picture that you're trying to paint all of Islam as.
I would never trust Islam.
You would never trust Islam.
I would
literally every single Islamic state was created through war and conquest. So the idea that Islam is a religion of peace when every single Islamic state is a product of war and conquest, like, it's just fucking ridiculous. It literally states in the Quran that you must commit jihad.
I would
and
never.
A lot of fundamentalists, a lot of the extremists that we're talking about have similar perspectives to you.
They have been taught to lie to the infidels, and I'm a Christian.
Do you think homosexuality is a sin? Do you think homosexuality is bad?
It's not good.
It's not good. What would you do about it?
Show them how to overcome.
Okay.
And
what if they're like, I don't want to overcome. I want to kiss a man.
Then let them suffer and die. That's their business.
Okay, that's a very fundamentalist perspective, not dissimilar to ISIS, though.
Yeah, that is pretty dissimilar to ISIS. He didn't say we need to fucking throw homosexuals. Fucking dishonest. All these fucking Muslim apologists are just fucking cancer.
And I'm craving caloric density, but if I'm able to control myself, I'll just have like a high quality meal with meat and grains, and then I'll have an apple for dessert. And if I'm still hungry and I just don't care and I want to feel better, I'll have like some of the high quality organic snack foods that we have on Frankie'sFreeRangeFoods.com, like the white chocolate chip cookie bars or the brown rice crisp bars. Number 3, the sun UVB is to recycle and heal the skin. And
UVB does not heal the skin.
And the sun is natural damage to skin, which increases.
Yes, it damages the skin, it damages DNA, and you get permanent damage to your skin.
Increases the turnover, forces your cells to heal, and it also helps detox the liver, use up certain nutrients, and expel more toxins.
Frank is fucking deranged, dude. You can literally look at how the sun damages your skin over time. You don't just perfectly regenerate skin cells once they're damaged by the sun.
I would say the skin healing is accelerated by at least 3 or 4-fold. And in those more extreme circumstances, this is going to help a lot more from a physical appearance perspective. So let's
Dude,
say
he's probably gonna get skin cancer or get so wrinkly when he gets older.
he did all of this, you know, I would say it would take 2 weeks max for your skin to clear up. You know, if I get acne or a breakout, if I'm not tanning or getting some sun, it could take a week and a half for my skin to fully clear up and look normal. However, if I'm in the sun, 2 or 3 days.
What an idiot.
How much strength training and/or cardio do you think is optimal for longevity? I'm not concerned with aesthetics. So you want to build up a base of muscle. I would say you want to look lean, but have an even amount of muscle all over the body. And then I would say probably half an hour of cardio a day is probably good. You know, you need to have that base of muscle in the first place, which is obtained with high volume resistance training. So you might have to be in the gym
I notice he never actually answers any question he's asked.
pretty intensely for a year or two. And then once you build up that base of muscle that you would naturally have if you were active your whole life, then you can try to focus less on the weight training and just the cardio and light weight training every week.
BMO, stop fucking trying to steal my
How much
hummus.
strength training and/or cardio do you? By far the question I get asked the most is, Frank, how do I heal my eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis? Whether it's dry, flaky skin affecting a person's appearance, like really red, irritated, inflamed skin that's severely itchy, it seems to be a common issue. And the reason people aren't able to fix this is because the modern conventional wisdom, doctors are treating this topically when the problem
That is not true. If you have psoriasis, generally, they give you immune suppressant drugs. It's not just topical ointments they give you.
is from your gut issues, inside, internally. And they don't really have a profitable way to fix your insides yet, so they're not going to do that.
Well, Frank's an idiot.
So with the diet, you have to follow a strict elimination protocol, and this is probably the biggest deal because it might not fix the skin on its own initially, but will 100% fix the skin over a course of several weeks to months. So the removal of basically any inflammatory to mildly inflammatory food. Eggs.
First Frank vid.
This is the 5th or 6th short that we've been watching. Thanks for the donation, Sam.
Dairy, high anti-nutrient fruits and vegetables. The more colorful, the worse it generally is. Seafood, which is
the more colorful, the more antioxidants you get, generally speaking. BMO, stop fucking trying to get my hummus. It's not yours. Just fuck off. Leave me alone.
It's very polluted. Animal fats, which increase bile excretion from the liver. You want the diet to be pretty low fat, as well as organ meats, which just like shellfish can store a lot of environmental toxins. Like grain-fed beef liver is very, very, very bad, and also kind of just high fats in general. It's no coincidence that my parents had the 3 most popular nuts in their cabinet, as they've been brainwashed by that conventional health wisdom their whole lives. They believe this stuff is genuinely healthy. Whole grains, eat your fruits and vegetables, red meat is the devil, don't look at an egg, your heart's gonna explode. Big Nut has a big load they need to sell because just about every individual nut has their own advertising campaign. So some of this stuff might sound familiar, but the principle is simple. I don't think these foods should be included in any diet in any considerable amount, maybe a few times per month in very small amounts if you have access to high quality, organic, specific types of nuts.
Nuts are good for you. I don't know why he thinks nuts are bad.
How are you guys? We now have pasture-raised corn and soy.
Jeez. Still fucking cross-eyed. That eye is pointing this way, this eye is pointing that way.
Free duck available on Frankie's Free Range Meat.
Plenty of ducks here.
It's been like 2 months already, hasn't it? And he's still just looks fucked up.
In the freezer, these are around 3 pounds each, whole ducks. And then we have a variety of duck organs. Here are the duck gizzards, nice and cleaned up. These are duck liver, everything in half-pound portions. Then we have the duck hearts, cute little duck hearts. God knows how many are in there. And then something unique, these are the unlaid duck egg yolks. The Amish usually fry these up in the pan, so
that looks disgusting.
very, very special product. And as with everything, guys, I always try to make it affordable for you. These are by far the cheapest ducks online, partially because they're small, but you will not find any corn and soy-free ducks anywhere close to that price per pound. Frankie's Free Range Meat.
Yeah, he is just fucked. I don't know how he could become that cross-eyed from that surgery.
Looks like Frank has a new do. Do I hear the quackers coming to get Frank?
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully he gets pecked to death by a duck. Thanks for the donation, Sam. And yeah, Frank, I think he cuts his own hair because his hair looks like shit.
What's up, guys? We're here in the refrigerator because we got the fresh beef back in stock on Frankie's Free Range Meat. Each share is going to be 5 pounds. You're going to get 3 pounds of the freshly ground local beef and then 2 pounds of steak. So we have 1 pound of ribeye, and then it's going to be 1 pound of either T-bone or porterhouse steaks. So this works out to about $8 a pound for the beef and $25 a pound for the steaks, which is by far the most affordable price online for 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, let alone fresh. You're never gonna find fresh grass-fed beef at this price anywhere. You guys can buy it in the 5-pound packages, now available on frankiesfreerangemeat.com. This will only be available for about 2 weeks. We have a very limited amount.
Yeah, fuck Frank.
The gut health. You need
Hopefully everybody who buys that shit chokes on it.
eradicate candida and repopulate the probiotic bacteria, because in almost every single circumstance I've seen, 100% of them, someone ever sends me like a gut microbiome profile, it's usually the same. The yeast or like the negative gram bacteria are pretty high. And this is one thing that might fix the skin on its own, just taking a probiotic, which is pretty, I guess, minimally invasive from a time investment perspective. And again, depending on how bad your problem is, the dysbiosis, how imbalanced your gut is, you might need a very extreme and consistent antimicrobial regimen. And one thing I'm not going to go too much into in this video is Wi-Fi shielding, EMF protection, and making sure your digestive system is shielded from radiation. I always wear Wi-Fi shielding clothing, even if I follow the perfect diet. You know, I remember when I was getting my tattoo in New York and I wasn't wearing my EMF shirt, I had diarrhea like every single day. The radiation.
He thinks he's getting diarrhea because he didn't wear a Wi-Fi shielding shirt. What a fucking whack job.
High stress on the digestive system will mess everything up. Again, I didn't want to go too much into this, but if you're in a high radiation environment,
like how does he fucking explain like most people walking around without diarrhea? Like most people don't have these fucking problems, so... And as far as I am aware, most people don't wear Wi-Fi shielding clothing.
Your liver, pancreas, and small intestine function is greatly impaired, but it's not good. Just spend $50-$60 on the shirt and you won't have to worry about it.
Dude, he is so stupid. Like, it's just crazy how somebody can be that dumb.
Some of you guys ask me a lot, hey Frank, is it okay to drink water kefir with liver damage? You know, it's alcoholic. How are you doing that every day? The grains and the bacteria in it help metabolize the alcohol.
It does not. Fucking bacteria does not help you metabolize alcohol.
And the benefits of having a healthy gut microbiome and bacteria far outweigh the negatives of the alcohol.
Does Frank sell EMF shielded undies?
He does. He actually does. Thanks for the donation, Sam. So that's not true. Probiotic foods are not particularly beneficial to you, if at all, and alcohol is terrible for you in any quantity.
So if someone tries to make an argument, hey, it's better to have this meal without the water kefir because it's alcoholic, but you can't, because if you have an unhealthy gut, candida is going to overgrow, toxins are going to sit there, you're going to have way more damage and stress on your digestive organs than what alcohol is going to do.
That is not true.
So you guys have seen this several times. The main difference is I have accurately portioned this to what you would probably start with. For the meal, there's some steak, white rice, and beans, everything organic. The meat's grass-fed, very high quality, prepared with mineral water, rinsed as minimal chemicals as possible. On the side here for supplements, we have water kefir, masticum, and charcoal, and optional for dessert, if you need it, if you're craving, you can have a peeled apple. This will give us the base nutrition we need to keep our cells healthy, but more importantly, remove all of the negative inflammatory things that most foods have.
Most foods are not inflammatory.
Allowing the body to detox and heal.
Yeah, Frank's a hypochondriac. Fuel donated $2, shitty graphics.
James Wade, can you please get some cooler interests? Frank Tufano is a boring retard and a total faggot. Like, can you get Richard to watch more Muscle Mommies or some other actually minty content?
Alright, well thank you for that, Poopity.
James Wade, can you please get some cooler interests? Frank Tufano is a boring retard and a total faggot. Like, can you get Richard to watch more Muscle Mommies or some other actually minty content?
Alright, well, thanks for the donation again, Poopity.
What kind of new suburban paranoia is this? What is the best diet for me to cure a gut dysbiosis? I am already vegan and it's not helping, anal fissures getting worse.
Go talk to a gastroenterologist. There's no best diet to cure gut dysbiosis.
Right now, in this
What is this?
Right now, in this moment in time, your life is in grave danger.
This video is needlessly 6 minutes long, so here's a shorter summary. If you're driving and someone throws an egg at your window, it might be to try to get you to pull over. And a lot of times when this happens, people say, oh, let me turn on the windshield wipers and get rid of it. But because of the consistency of an egg, you're not going to be able to get it off and only make your vision worse while driving. Now when this happens, you're going to say, oh, I need to pull over and get out of the car and get rid of the egg in some way. But this is a terrible idea because this is typically where the person who threw the egg sneaks up on you and takes you. But what you should do instead is when the egg is thrown, don't turn on the windshield wipers because you can still see a lot around the egg. Along with this, you should keep driving and check your rearview mirror to see if anyone's following you. And if they are, under no circumstances should you go home. Instead, you should keep driving and immediately get on the phone with law enforcement and tell them where you are. And only after you see the police pull up behind you is it safe to pull off and talk to the police officer. And at this point, if anyone was following you, they're going to see the police and they're going to hightail it out of there and know that you're not the right target. Overall,
Alright, well, good advice. I'm assuming this is just a reshade. Maybe it's like a texture pack, too? But this mostly looks like a reshade. Yeah, it looks nice. Does look very real. Nova LUT, HG rework. I'll save this video, watch it later. So I want the mods.
Another consideration for the protein is the fat content. You guys have seen me go for leaner steaks, and there's good reason for that. This is ribeye, but it's a leaner one. And even filet mignon, there is still a pretty significant fat content, which is all you really need, as the only vitamins and nutrients that are significant in beef are in the lean tissue. There is no specific vitamin in animal fat that is not contained in the protein portion. And the reason you want to minimize fat on this
Frank is just too much fun to watch. Plus, I eagerly await the animals coming for Frank. Sounds like you are getting tired.
I just, it's a combination of feeling sick and being depressed. Not exactly tired right now, but, yeah, just being sick and feeling shitty. You know, I'm, not in the best mood. But thanks for the donation, Sam.
This diet is because there are two things fat does that can make it slower to heal. One is cause more bile to be released from the bile ducts and liver. Problem number two, fat promotes absorption of nutrients and toxins and reduces gut motility. The charcoal is kind of like a safety net for when you go to sleep. The problem with lying down is that gut motility is greatly reduced and toxic bile tends to be reabsorbed. You know, think about it, you're standing up, gravity is pushing all the food down away from the liver, away from the small intestine.
That is not how your digestion works.
But if you're lying down, the food's almost like coming back up into your stomach, into your throat. So if you
Yeah, that is not how your digestion works. There's musculature that actually pushes food through your digestive tract. Gravity has nothing to do with digestion.
eat sooner than 3 to 4 hours before bed or lying down, you definitely want to take 1, 2, or 3 capsules. And I notice that, you know, if I come home tired from work and I eat a large meal and then I lay down right away, I almost always wake up with a headache. Almost always.
All of the best bars are finally back available on frankiesstrange.foods.com. Maybe if you guys help me out, I can buy a new steel table. Who knows? The original formula, minimal ingredient, whey protein, beef tallow, honey, a little bit of vanilla, sea salt, and then depending on the flavor, you know, we have organic chocolate, we have a little more vanilla in this one, and then we have organic blueberry, all super special, super delicious, very soft, cake-like texture. Kids love these. Plus, they're very calorically dense. They're non-perishable. Kind of great as a survival food, and whey protein.
Total fat 20 grams, saturated fat 10 grams. Holy fucking shit. Dude, these things are terrible for you.
Is an excellent source of all the B vitamins, all of the amino acids, just super high quality stuff. frankiesstrange.foods.com. You can also try out the granola bars. We got the blueberry as well as plain pemmican, quinoa crisp bars, even Totomi's very vegan cookies, guys. Check it out on the.
I fucking hate Frank. Dodo donated $2. Let me see. President Trump's team reached out to RFK Jr. about serving as Trump's vice president. Wow. Okay. That's worrying.
One of us have our own fingerprint.
Even twins have different fingerprints.
Why?
Who are otherwise genetically identical.
Why?
Would you rather we were all the same?
No, I'm just
Why is that
asking
more
why.
odd to you than the fact that we all have different personalities?
Eee-oo-woo. Beef tallow included in chocolate bars.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. That can't taste good. That has to taste fucking gross and weird. Thanks for that donation, Sam.
We have different talent.
But personalities can be based on
And what you learn.
environment, nurture, and not just nature.
Right.
So I thought about it the other day, and it like kind of made me spin. It's just like we all have different fingerprints. Okay, I get it. Grand design.
Well, so it's an intriguing fact, but here's something that may relate. Most people who could be born will never be born, will never even exist. So the fact
Like
that...
sperm.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah. One gets in...
I mean, it's science. I want to become a scientist now.
Okay.
In Ramadan, you fast during the day and you get to eat at night. So it's 40 days of fasting. I think 40. Wow. Well, it turns out I was recently in Dubai, where they have the tallest building in the world, and I did a quick calculation and I confirmed it with others there that in fact they print separate tables for residents at the top of this building because the sun sets 2 minutes later if you are at the top of that building than if you are at the base, because you're seeing that much farther over the curvature of the earth. In Ramadan, you fast during the...
That's interesting.
How far away would a black hole have to be in order for our solar system to fall into it?
So that's not how black holes work.
Right.
Black hole is not some giant sucking machine. They have a gravity commensurate with their mass, like anything. The moon has gravity.
You think this wannabe backy dude is natty? His FFMI is around 26, he benches well over 400, squats mid 500 and DL mid 600 while staying around 12% body fat. He claims Natty constantly. He's a boss.
How the hell would you know what enough is?
Yeah, he's not natty.
As long as Ocelot still lives, eats, and shits, I haven't done enough! Enough?
I can almost guarantee you this guy is not natty. Likelihood pretty low. Thanks for the donation though, Josh. Appreciate it.
Earth has gravity. The sun has gravity. You can ask, how much mass does the black hole have? And if it has a planet's worth of mass, it could just hang out in our solar system like another planet.
Right.
You don't want to get too close to it because there are places where they're no longer stable orbits. And then you'd fall in. If we turn Earth into a black hole, it would be like the size of a plum, last I calculated. The moon would still orbit it. The moon wouldn't care.
fall in.
What makes black holes interesting is that you can get really close to them and get ripped apart and spaghettified. Now, if I had Earth as a plum, if I took another planet, take Venus, made a black hole and brought it here, it would fall through the Earth and eat Earth Swiss cheese style as it bounced back and forth until Earth plus Venus became one. And it become like the size of an orange.
How far away would a black hole have to be?
That's interesting.
Our grass-fed beef jerky is finally back available on frankiesfreerangefoods.com.
Oh, that looks gross. So I donate $2, $2.45 timestamp. Let me see.
We
have a
helped
history with vegan
popularize.
games.
We
Yeah.
helped popularize vegan games.
Oh,
back in
wow.
the DP
Well,
days.
he was
yeah.
popular. He already had his shit going before we came along.
I don't know. We gave him a boost.
For sure.
He got really mad, and he came in to debate me, and he opened his debate by basically he started out basically just fucking with a load, right? Like fucking already blown in his pants when he came in. He was like fucking. It sounded like he did cocaine, which I guess is vegan friendly, but
Dude, she's still salty about that debate.
He did that he came in so
This is a
amped,
day
and he was
ago.
like, "You're a fucking murderer," and then I just okay, well, I guess if we're
I did not say that. She's flat out lying.
If the only meat options you had were human beings, and if you go to the grocery store, it's not chicken, it's not steak, whatever you eat normally, it's just people, would you go vegan tomorrow if that was your only way to stop from paying for people to be killed and eaten?
I don't think I'd be able to go vegan tomorrow. I think that would be very difficult. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Just making sure all of our with the practical application of veganism and how you build a strategy for a world that is
Like, she's just fucking lying. The debate's public.
we're just throwing accusations around. I called him a child rapist, and he got so mad about that. And I'm like, you just called me a murderer, unfounded. And I think if you're gonna call me things unfounded, I'm gonna call you things unfounded. And it basically ended the debate.
She called me a child rapist because I, eat Nestle products.
He couldn't recover from that. He started freaking out and just talking over me every time. And then he...
So, again, this was the end of our debate.
Engaged with are
Don't know what that has to do with it being okay to pay for humans to be murdered?
Oh, well, because you're doing it right now. You currently are
Okay,
paying
so
for humans to be murdered. You're on the
I'm
internet,
paying for
you're
humans to be murdered by
computer.
buying oats.
That looks disgusting. Frank eats too much raw meat.
He eats too much meat, period. But, thanks for the donation, Sam.
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
By
really?
doing all
Okay,
kinds of
that's
things, you
that's
are.
interesting. Can
Yeah.
you tell me how many people die when per I don't know, hundreds of kilograms or thousands of kilograms of oats that are bought?
I don't know, and I don't really care. You want to know why? I don't
Okay,
really
so
care?
it's okay to pay for people to be murdered?
No,
Well,
just
you
saying.
literally just said there's no moral obligation for somebody to not buy human meat at a store.
I don't think any of those words actually came out of my mouth.
They did.
Oh, did they?
Okay, well, do you or do you not believe you have a moral obligation to not buy human meat? Yes or no?
No, I don't think you have a moral obligation to not buy a product that is produced poorly. I don't think anyone has that.
You didn't answer the question. Yes or no, do you believe we have a
excuse
moral
me.
obligation to not buy human meat? Not buy human meat. Yes or no?
Guys, by the way, just real quick.
You're not even answering the question.
Excuse me,
Yes or no,
excuse
do
me,
you have a
please,
moral
please.
obligation not to buy human meat?
My man, you are a child. Can you just hold on for 1 second? But everyone who's going to be watching this video in the future, this is
Everybody
exactly
who
what
watches this video in the future will know you're dodging every single question I'm asking, and you don't even answer. No, you literally didn't. So I'm asking you, do you have a moral obligation to not buy human meat? Yes or no?
I don't think anyone has a moral obligation to not buy human meat or to not buy animal meat.
Okay, well, there you go. Then you don't believe in human rights. So if I paid for you to get murdered, if I paid a hitman for you to get murdered and chopped up into burgers, that's fine? That's morally acceptable to you? Do you not believe in human rights?
Do you think this is like a real conversation? Do you think like this is an actual argument? Do you think
Well,
this looks
no,
good?
I don't think I'm actually having a conversation with somebody who's taking this discussion seriously. It sounds like you're just trying to do everything you can to filibuster, waste my time, not answer questions.
Weird. It's really
backtrack,
fucking weird that you'd say that.
everything you
It's really
can do.
weird that
So
you'd say that
you
because,
don't
like,
believe
I've
in
answered
human
it
rights?
literally, I've answered very directly, and not only directly, but very charitably. I've expanded pretty clearly on my views. You're just literally whining like a man-child over the fact that I'm sorry that I don't perfectly 100% word things the way you do, that I don't have the exact worldview. You're freaking the fuck out and coming on here and accusing me of filibustering because, I don't know, apparently big words scare you. I don't know what's up with you, man. Like, I don't know you. I don't even know who you are. You came into my chat and wanted to have a conversation, and you come on here and behave like every other fucking unhinged, pathetic vegan that I deal with. The vegans who
I'm
I deal with-
unhinged, but you think it's okay to pay for humans to get murdered and eaten.
I mean, you think it's okay to rape children, so that's pretty weird.
What?
You just 5 minutes ago told me that you don't care, that you don't give a shit, that you don't know, you didn't even bother to look into Nestle products. You don't even bother to look into the fact that children are raped
Nestle
in
rapes
Lebanon.
children.
You
All
are
right, well, I'll be sure to
advocating
avoid
right
Nestle
now
products.
for child
then.
raping. Guys, Vegan
Uh-huh.
Gains just came on my
Uh-huh.
show to advocate about child rapists in
Okay,
favor of child rape.
that's a cool story. So you believe that it's morally acceptable to pay for humans to be murdered and turned into meat?
You believe it's morally
and you
acceptable
think
to
I'm a
pay for
freak?
child rape? Yeah, you're
So
a freak.
you think
come
I'm
here
a
advocating
freak?
for child rape by your own worldview. Dude,
No.
you're a child rapist.
No.
You like what do you
so-
what else are you paying for? How many subscriptions to child porn sites do you have?
Wow. Okay. So again, you believe it's morally acceptable
Wow,
to
another
pay for
vegan comes
humans
on
to be
here and admits
murdered.
to being a child rapist. I love it every
So
single time.
you believe it's morally
Moral
acceptable. So basically, I caught her like accepting a retarded fucking like idea that it's okay to pay for humans to be killed so that they can be eaten. And then she like fucking accused me of being a child rapist, and then now she's lying about it. Dodo donated $2. Can you see what Destiny's up to and maybe join and debate someone in his chat? I need to see a debate from you. It's been too long. Is he even streaming right now? I don't think he's streaming. He is. No, he's not. Yeah, he's not streaming. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
Quit the call and raged about me for.
I didn't quit the call. She either kicked me or one of the, like some bot kicked me from her server.
Quite literally weeks afterwards. And so there's like this subsection of the vegan community, the ones who make me wonder if maybe the vegan diet does do brain damage. But I don't want to
Dude, she looks like this, and she's talking about fucking brain damage.
be mean to all vegans because, you know, I know there's a lot of good ones out there. But yeah, that community doesn't like me. And they
I'll
basically
be
go
mean to
around
all
them.
vegans.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well,
Vegans
it was
suck.
that person that reached out to us, or somebody that knows that person, because that meat
Almost.
sandwich.
TJ,
shit,
what about the vegans that don't say anything
or
to
that
you and just eat,
murder
and they're just
sandwich shit,
vegans?
yeah.
You
I
hate
think
So basically, she literally just came on to Deep Fat Fried to strawman and lie about me. And this is after how fucking long? Like, when did that debate happen? That has to have been like...
Protein.
Feels like fucking years ago. Yeah, 1 year ago. It's been a fucking year, and she just decided to come on Deep Fat Fried yesterday to, like, strawman me.
100% grass-fed, grass-finished, plain, only salt added, and it's half the price of other jerkies on
Okay, so basically it tastes like shit.
the market. This is about $10 for 4 ounces, whereas if you go into any supermarket, it's going to be like $7 or $8 for just 2 ounces. Literally half the price. Plus, there's no chemicals, preservatives, soy sauce, none of that crap added that you see in almost every, even grass-fed jerky. So you guys can go to frankiesfreerangefoods.com where we have the beef jerky as well as a lot of other high-quality meats, really animal-based stuff. Some pieces are a little softer than others, but overall it's really, really tasty and not too chewy.
Yeah, that looks disgusting. He didn't even, like, flavor it or put any spices. It's just salted.
So we have 2 sizes available, 4 ounces, as well as 8 ounces. I mean, even 4 ounces of jerky is like almost the equivalent of 1 pound of meat, so it's a lot to have at once.
Yeah, that is nasty.
Adrenal powder is now available on organsupplements.com. Been a while, guys. I think over 2 years now, and I don't even think we ever had the adrenal powder available. Very, very difficult to get if you guys are looking to improve your overall hormonal function using glandular
This literally does nothing.
therapy. And all of the other glandulars are available. We have the male virility for testosterone. This is the full spectrum balance.
Yeah, because why would you take testosterone when you can take a useless supplement that does nothing?
Balance of everything. Big brain is for the omega-3. Third eye is the brain glandulars like the pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus. Very, very special product.
Lamau. I just can't with Frankie's cross-eyed face staring into the camera. Lol.
Yeah, I know. If I were him, I'd just wear sunglasses all the time because it just looks fucking embarrassing. Thanks for that, Nation Grey Knight.
Product. Immune system, thymus, and then we have the female fertility. We ran out of labels for the thyroid, but we do still have the thyroid available. All the glandulars, guys, organsupplements.com. By far the most affordable.
Dude, he's so cross-eyed. Like, oh my god, how does he go out in public like this?
Price online about half of any other supplement company, and that's partially because they're in powder, but by doing that, I ensure they are the right quality.
What an idiot.
Most of you guys have been carnivore, and I've done so many videos on the health benefits of meat, B vitamins, animal-based amino acids.
Meat literally has no health benefits.
Cholesterol, highly available nutrients that we need to be healthy. Problem is that protein is hard to digest for various reasons. High
It is not hard to digest.
iron content, ultimately making digestion worse, and you will feel bad if you eat too much protein, especially if your digestive system isn't healthy. I would say 3 to 4 ounces is a good starting point for 2 or 3 meals a day. You could even go less than that, and then you can increase depending on your appetite, how you feel. And if you do have 3 meals, maybe just try not having protein for the last meal. See if you sleep better. On point and not easily distracted. Like if I want to think of 4 Mexican girls shaking their chest in front of me
Yes. I'm not gay, everybody.
on a beach and I'm drinking margaritas and I have a chest full of gold near me with a little leprechaun on it, I should be able to think about that pretty clearly. That's not how most people are when they...
Why does it always look like he's wearing a diaper?
I would say the very least Frankie should just wear an eye patch so his cross eyes don't look obvious.
Yeah, that's an idea. Either sunglasses or an eye patch, just so you can't see the cross-eyed. Thanks for that donation, Dutchie.
They wake up. Well, 1, because they're not half crazy, and 2, because they don't have enough testosterone, which I did have my testicle therapy this morning. We'll talk about that later, how to fix the problem of low testosterone. especially when compared to the other macronutrients, fats and carbohydrates, is very difficult to digest.
It is not difficult to digest.
From chewing to the stomach, small intestine and beyond, it requires a lot more work than pretty much any non-protein based food.
It does not.
That, combined with the tendency to overeat, at least in America, can make increasing your dietary protein a bad thing. Normally when someone's eating a lot of chicken, drinking protein shakes, they're viewed as healthy. Oh yeah, high protein diet, bro. But in reality, could be damaging their bodies in a different way.
Well, that's Frank. He's not too bright.
And Hamas. So you can see one very clear sign here, which is that the one side in this conflict bases their entire fight on a promise, a prophecy by Muhammad, which is, regardless of the history of Israel, regardless of the future of Israel, they believe that they will fight and kill the Jews.
WTF is Frank-style testicle therapy?
Frank-style testicle therapy. I don't know what you mean by that. Thanks for the donation, though, Sam.
If today Israel ceased to exist, this hadith would still be applicable. If today Israel said, we will dismantle this state and we will merge into one nation with the Arab Muslims and began living among them, this promise here, this prophecy would still stand. Not only Hamas, but most Muslims around the world, and most Muslims are aware of this hadith, would still stand. If Israel completely...
Aaron P. donate tellers, you missed our Rob P. free membership donation. Say gig is my giga. Can you shout me out to Destiny or Turkey Tom or both? Sure. I'll do that next time I'm on Destiny stream. And thanks for the donation, Aaron.
Disappeared, this would still stand. And they would still aim for the destruction, the annihilation, the genocide, the complete extermination of Jews. If you only look at this hadith, it already answers every single question that we have. It already brings an end to the discussion. Islam is responsible for the violent war. Islam is responsible for extermination wars. Islam is responsible for any rejection of the existence and the self-determination of Jews and their statehood. We see here an example of from one of the recent rallies that are pro-Palestine or pro-Hamas. It says here on this sign, now do you understand why the trees and rocks will have to speak? For others who don't know, this might not need much of an explanation, but for Muslims around the world, it's quite clear what is being meant here. And this is the issue. When people stand with Palestine or make excuses for Hamas and attack Israel, they usually don't know what Muslims believe. Muslim people believe in this, which is why they don't need to further explain it. They simply need to put it up, and that's all that needs to be done for everyone to get it. Now, Hamas is not the only side, unfortunately. This here is an original document from the West Bank, the Palestinian territories, the West Bank, Fatah, the Palestinian Authority, which is supposed to be separate from Hamas, which is supposed to be less radical.
If you listen carefully to the last Frank short, he mentions testicle therapy.
Testicle therapy.
Protein, especially when compared to the other macronutrients, fats and carbohydrates, is very difficult to digest. From chewing to the stomach, small intestine and beyond, it requires a lot more work than pretty much any non-protein based food. That, combined with the tendency to overeat, at least in America, can make increasing your dietary protein a bad thing. Normally when someone's eating a lot of chicken, drinking protein shakes, they're...
Dodo donate tellers, can you get a debate scheduled, maybe with modern day debates or the Crucible or something, or can you do some street interviews or something on veganism or Israel or politics? Or open Discord and do debates. Oh my god, you need to debate. I'll try to get something set up. Okay, Dodo, thanks for that donation, man.
They're viewed as healthy. Oh yeah, high protein diet, bro. But in reality, could be damaging their bodies in a different way.
I don't see anything about testicle therapy. All right, well, thanks anyway, Sam.
Which is supposed to be, not Islamist, and they are even at conflict with Hamas. This document was issued on October 20th or October 19th, only 2 weeks after the Hamas attacks, and is a document that is an instruction by the Ministry of Religious Affairs in Jerusalem, an instruction to mosques in the West Bank to preach this sermon, this message during the Friday prayer, where all the Muslims gather. If you look through it, it basically vilifies the Zionists and Israel and all of that, and then it shares a few sources here. It says Sharia proofs, and here it is again highlighted. The hour will not be established until the Muslims fight the Jews, so the Jews will hide behind stones and trees, and so on. The very same thing once again. So you might say, why is this one issue so important? Well, it appears again and again and again from Hamas, from Muslim people around the world, and here even from the supposedly secular, peaceful Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. It's quite clear, isn't it, that this hadith, which we have here, which motivates Muslims around the world, which I learned when I was a little child, is something that they take very seriously and that lies at the core of this conflict. Muhammad himself is supposed to have said, "Let there be curse of Allah upon the Jews and Christians, for they have taken the graves of their prophets as places of worship." He is supposed to have said, "I will expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula and will not leave anyone except Muslims." And the Quran says, "O you who have believed, do not take the Jews and Christians as allies. They are in fact allies of one another, and whoever is an ally to them among you, then indeed he is one of them." I want to ask just one question to finish this, which is, if Israel today became completely secular and completely stopped believing in their religion, Israel would still continue existing and would only fight for its existence. If the other side, if Hamas, for example, suddenly turned completely secular and let go of their religion, would there still be this conflict, which according to them, by their own leaders, is all based on a religious idea? It wouldn't be there. There would probably be more understanding. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that opening. We are going to kick it over to Daniel for his opening statement. But first, I want to say, folks, if it's your first time here at Modern Day Debate, I'm your host, James Coons. We are providing a neutral platform so that everybody can make their case on a level playing field. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, as we have...
Well, this is going to be fucking stupid. I can already tell.
Many more debates coming up. And with that,
he's going to say something really dumb.
Yours.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. A note to the audience, all the references to Jewish texts I'll make in this opening statement, I've compiled them all in a document. If you go to muslimskeptic.com, you can see it there on the home page. That way you can double check all the references for yourself. So which religion is responsible for the Israel-Palestine war? Is it Islam or Judaism? Judaism has many unique teachings that explain why Israel, as a Jewish ethno-religious state, acts the way it does. There are many Jewish teachings that we can discuss, but for the sake of time, let's just go over the three most racist, most genocidal, most disgusting teachings within the Jewish religion. First,
so he's just going to fucking quote the Torah and then act as if any Israeli policy is based on the fucking Torah.
Judaism teaches that Jews are a superior race and non-Jews are not even human. The basis of this is the Torah, Deuteronomy chapter 7, which says, "Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all."
By the way, what's hilarious about this is Muslims call non-Muslims infidels, which basically translates to subhuman or lesser people. And they're commanded to break down and destroy any monuments to other gods. So he's fucking accusing Jews of doing something that Muslims do.
All people that are upon the face of the earth. The Talmud further teaches that non-Jews are not to be regarded as humans or treated as such. Only Jews are human. In the Babylonian Talmud, Bava Metzia 114b, we read, quote, "Jewish people are called man, but Gentiles are not called man." The Talmud also teaches that all non-Jews are akin to dangerous animals, or more specifically snakes. Hence, all non-Jews should be killed. The Talmud states, "Kill the best of Gentiles, smash the head of the best of snakes." Other Jewish religious texts, like the Zohar and other Kabbalistic writings, hold that Jews are semi-divine, and in some cases can even be worshipped by non-Jews. More specifically, they have divine souls that are connected to God. By contrast, non-Jews lack souls connected to God. As a result, they're literally subhuman animals. The notion that non-Jews are animals is also reflected in Jewish law. For instance, if an adult male Jew rapes a non-Jewish girl as young as 3 years old, the girl is to be executed. This is because, according to Jewish law, when a Jew has sex with an animal, that animal must be put to death. Since the raped non-Jew child is like an animal, she is likewise put to death.
Yeah, so this is just going to be easily debunked, and it's stupid. Nothing in the Torah or the Talmud is practiced in, like, Israeli law. They don't follow the Talmud or the Torah. They're a secular nation, so... Like, why is he mentioning this? It's just completely unrelated to anything.
Death. This rule is mentioned in the Mishnah Torah by Maimonides, who's considered by Jews to be the greatest legal scholar of the Torah. Maimonides writes, if a Jewish male enters into relations with a Gentile woman, when he does so intentionally, she should be executed. She's executed because she caused...
Meet my cute cats, Toby and Nichito. They remind of Prismo and BMO.
Let me take a look. Wow. Oh my god. Those are some good cats. Jesus Christ. So orange. My god. This one does look like Prismo. Those are some really nice kitties. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate the donation, Marco. W donated $2, the real Zionism debate.
Vincent James. And
yeah, I don't think I'm gonna bother watching this, especially since what's his name, isn't it? Thanks for that donation though, W. Fuel donated $2, really bad graphics. Yeah, that looks pretty sick. Oh, hey, have fun. McLaren F1s are such nice cars. Aston Martins are shit, though. So are Audis. Supras are really cool. Yeah, the new Countach looks sick. Oh, hey Prim Prim. What's the matter, little buddy? What's the matter, little buddy? Prim Prim. Yeah, I gotta mod Cyberpunk. Damn. Remade Cyberpunk with Unreal Engine 5. He did not.
Hey, you're down!
That looks nice. Well, thanks for the donation, Fuel.
As a Jew to be involved in an unseemly transgression, as is the law with regard to an animal.
Rob P. member for 24 months. Thoughts on the Destiny versus Ben Shapiro debate on Lex Friedman podcast? Who would you rather debate on veganism? Shapiro or Destiny? Gig is my giga, giga, giga.
Well, I've already debated Destiny on veganism like 5 times at least, so I'd rather debate Shapiro because I haven't debated on him yet. The debate with Shapiro and Destiny and Friedman was kind of lame. I think Friedman's a terrible host, and basically he just kept changing the topics. And he also proposed like really stupid topics for debate too, so I just wasn't particularly interesting. Thanks for the donation, Aaron.
This applies regardless of whether the Gentile woman was a minor of 3 years of age or an adult, whether she was single or married. And it applies even if the Jew was a minor of 9 years old. She is executed. End quote. Teaching that.
I'm just gonna put my food away. I'll be right back. I don't think Ben Shapiro looked smarter in their debate. I think the only part in the debate where he actually won was on the conflict with Iran.
That non-Jews are animals and can be raped and discarded is the very definition of dehumanization, yet this is a core teaching of Judaism. Now, moving on to the second category, Judaism preaches a sacred system of racial apartheid law. Obviously, many religions, including Christianity and Islam, have rules which give preference to their own believers over non-believers. But Judaism takes this to an outrageous, almost comically evil degree. First of all, Judaism has a sacred command to kill all the world's idolaters and destroy all the world's religions. In the Mishnah Torah, Maimonides clearly and famously states that Jews have a religious obligation to wage war against idolaters across the world and kill them if they do not cease their idolatry. Maimonides writes, quote, "We may not draw up a covenant with idolaters, which will establish peace between them and us, and yet allow them to worship idols, as Deuteronomy states. Do not establish a covenant with them. Rather, they must renounce their idol worship or be slain. It is forbidden to have mercy upon them, as Deuteronomy states. Do not be gracious to them." End quote. Modern rabbis teach this point as well. For example, in a viral video clip, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi says that 2 billion Christians and 4 billion Chinese, Indians, and Japanese do not deserve.
Daniel, you can't grow a beard, bro. Just give up and shave.
To live because they are idol worshippers. So according to Judaism, idol worshippers do not deserve to live. But what about killing non-idol worshippers? According to Jewish law, it is sinful for a Jew to kill a non-Jew, but there is no legal penalty for directly killing non-Jews. Why? Because the Talmud says, kill the best of Gentiles, smash the head of the best of snakes. Jewish academic Israel Shahak describes this Jewish law in his book, Jewish History, Jewish Religion, The Weight of 3,000 Years. He says, quote, "A Jew who murders a Gentile is guilty only of a sin against the laws of heaven, not punishable by a court. To cause indirectly the sin of a Gentile is no sin at all." One of the most important commentators on the Shulchan Aruch explains that when it comes to a Gentile, one must not lift one's hand to harm him, but one may harm him indirectly. For example, by removing a ladder after he has fallen into a crevice. There is no prohibition on that because it was done directly. It was not done directly. According to Jewish law, Jews are also allowed to steal from non-Jews if the Jews are in a position of power. Again, Shahak describes this. Quote, "Rabbinical authorities differ among themselves as to the precise details of the circumstances under which a Jew may rob a Gentile, but the whole debate is concerned only with the relative power of Jews and Gentiles rather than with universal considerations of justice and humanity. This may explain why so very few rabbis have protested against the robbery of Palestinian property in Israel. It was backed by overwhelming Jewish power." End quote. unquote. Shahak also explains how Jews are not allowed to give gifts to non-Jews. They can only give gifts to non-Jewish business partners as a sort of investment, but non-business gifts to non-Jews is prohibited. Jews are not allowed to give charity to non-Jewish beggars either. Jewish law says give charity only to Jewish beggars.
Yeah, so this, like, he's not even making an argument. It's just quotes from the Torah and Talmud.
But never give to non-Jewish beggars unless the non-Jews start getting suspicious. Then it's allowed to order in order to protect Jews from backlash. Jewish law allows Jews to exploit non-Jews in business through usury, loan sharking, taking advantage of mistaken calculations, and price gouging. Many Jewish authorities, including Maimonides, teach that it is best not to charge fellow Jews interest on loans, but it's mandatory to charge as much interest as possible on loans to non-Jews. A similar double standard exists for fraud. Defrauding Jews is a grave violation in Jewish law, but defrauding non-Jews is permissible in many circumstances, as taught in the Talmud, the Mishnah Torah, and many other authoritative Jewish texts. Moving on to the third category, Jewish law sanctions violent conquest, genocide, and rape as a weapon of war. Traditional Judaism holds that there are two types of war: permitted wars, or milchamet reshut, or divinely.
Like, what's so strange to me is he's saying all of this as if these are bad things in Judaism. These are all things supported in Islam. So why is he a Muslim if he thinks these things are bad?
Commanded wars, milchamet mitzvah. In permitted wars, the Jewish ruler is permitted to conquer other peoples, take their lands, and enslave them. If he's able to, the Jewish ruler may conquer the entire world in this way. In divinely commanded wars, Jews are commanded to genocide particular peoples. They must intentionally kill them, including all men, women, children, and infants. This is religiously sanctioned genocide, and it's what we've seen throughout the history of the terror state of Israel up until today. Divinely commanded wars are of three types: wars of self-defense, wars of genocide, and global wars against idolatry. I've already mentioned the global wars against idolatry and the Jewish obligation to just genocide all idolaters of the world. Excuse me. In so-called wars of self-defense, these occur when Jews are attacked. In these wars, Jews are permitted to intentionally kill men, women, and children. Conventional rules of war found in other religions, like sparing women and children and the elderly, do not apply. In the third type of divinely commanded war, Jews are commanded to genocide particular peoples. They must intentionally kill them, including all men, women, and children. There are two groups of that Jews are commanded to genocide. The first group consists of the 7 nations inhabiting the land of Israel, as mentioned in the Torah. Jews are obligated to genocide this group so as to take their land. The second group Jews are commanded to genocide are Amalekites, or Amalek. The Torah describes the Amalekites as people hostile to Jews. Later, Jewish thinkers came to interpret Amalekites as any group that showed itself to be an enemy to the Jews. It's thought that Jews have a sacred obligation to genocide Amalek in all times, in all places. Over the years, Jewish scholars have applied the term Amalekite to Romans, Christians, Nazis, and Palestinians. All these details can be found when referencing Jewish religious texts. For another academic reference, see the book Holy War in Judaism by Reuven Firestone, published by Oxford. Besides genocide, Jewish soldiers are also given the right to rape any non-Jewish female they wish, regardless of her age, even as young as 3 years old, and even if she's married and has children. The Jewish soldier is allowed to simply take the woman to a vacant area, violently subdue her, and then satisfy himself. Jewish law then has some technicalities as to what happens to this woman or child. In some cases, the Jewish soldier has the divine right to simply kill the woman or the child and move on. Because the entire Jewish army is entitled to engage in such behavior, every Jewish war is a mass rape campaign directed at non-Jews and their children. These rules are discussed in both the Talmud and the Mishnah Torah. Also, Reuters reported not too long ago that the chief rabbi of the Israeli military, Eyal Karim, taught soldiers that raping non-Jews in war is divinely permitted. And of course, we've all seen Israeli soldiers on TikTok videos and elsewhere bragging about how they've been doing this to the Palestinians. Now, there are a few apologetic moves that are constantly used to defend the Jewish community in light of these shocking teachings of Judaism.
He thinks fucking IDF soldiers are bragging about raping Palestinians on, like, fucking Instagram? This dude's unhinged.
Some will simply deny that these teachings are a part of Judaism, but this is just a blatant lie. These teachings are firmly established in the most authoritative Jewish religious texts, including the Torah, the Talmud, the Mishnah Torah, and so on. Furthermore, senior rabbis in Israel regularly preach these doctrines. As a second line of apologetics, some will say that these doctrines are mere isolated opinions that were debated in Jewish history, but they don't represent the official doctrine of Judaism. This is also a blatant lie. Yes, you do find plenty of debate in Jewish religious texts over the centuries, but these debates were resolved through the development of authoritative commentaries from major Jewish religious figures like Rashi, and then later through the legal codes of Maimonides and Joseph Caro. A third line of apologetic is to say, fine, maybe these doctrines are an official part of Judaism as a religion, but modern Jews are not religious and they don't take their religious teachings seriously. This is also a lie. Yes, it's true that most Ashkenazi Jews in the West are not religious, but according to polls, most Jews in Israel take their religion seriously. Israel is a very religious society and is becoming more religious every day because the religious Jews there have the highest birth rates by far. But even putting the fact aside and pretending that no modern Jew takes Judaism seriously, even in that case, these Jewish religious doctrines would still indirectly influence non-religious Jews. This is because religion still affects culture. This is the idea behind the tongue-in-cheek statement that most Jews don't believe in God.
So he literally has no argument, and he's just taking a bunch of, quotes from the Torah and shit out of context and saying Jews actually believe this.
But they do believe he promised them the land of Israel. Even if 0% of Jews in the world were religious, Judaism has still deeply impacted Jewish culture. The Talmud has shaped Jewish culture for thousands of years. It's not that every Jew accepts the Talmud, but they do accept the general ideas, namely that Jews are a superior race, non-Jewish life has no value, you can kill, rape, and cheat non-Jews, therefore it's okay to genocide men, women, and children. You can absorb these general ideas even as a secular Jew, even if you're not specifically following the Talmud by the letter. And this is why we see what we see in Palestine. This is why supposedly non-religious Jewish soldiers in Israel are right now engaging in genocide, mass rape, and some of the worst atrocities humanity has ever seen.
This guy is just unhinged. Mass rape. Yeah, if you want to talk about mass rape, let's talk about October 7th, fucking moron.
Atrocities and war crimes that are now being tried literally in The Hague. And polls show that most Jews in the US and Israel approve of the genocide, mass rape, and mass murder of children that's being perpetrated by the Israeli military. This is all due to Talmudic teachings that have deeply influenced Jewish culture.
Thank you very much for that opening as well. We're going to kick it over to rebuttals, but I want to say, folks, a couple of things. First, in particular...
Oh, this is a good one. Daniel is quoting the Torah, but his own scripture confirms the Torah. Yeah, that's true.
After our rebuttals and open dialogue, we'll have the Q&A, so if you happen to have a question, feel free to tag me in the live chat at Modern Day Debate. Otherwise, you can also submit a question via Super Chat. Those go to the top of the list. And last but not least, we'll jump into those rebuttals. Thanks very much, AP. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Daniel did a few things, or lots of things that I expected he would do. Now, first off, there is something very interesting and very funny that needs to be pointed out. He acted like he is predicting one of the rebuttals that will come, and said that people say that modern Jews don't take their religion seriously, or don't believe in their religion, or don't respect their religion, and so on. No, it's actually not like that. It's much. The objection is much better than that. The objection is that Israel, when it was established by the Zionists, was established as a secular country with a secular movement, when Theodor Herzl, for example, advocated for the establishment of a Jewish state, he made some remarks about what this state would look like, which are very interesting to read and which form the foundation of how Israel functioned from the very beginning until, you could say, quite recent times. And I would like to just share that here to show that. So this is directly from Theodor Herzl's book, The Jewish State. It says, shall we end by having a theocracy? No, indeed. Faith unites us, knowledge gives us freedom. We shall therefore prevent any theocratic tendencies from coming to the fore on the part of our priesthood. We shall keep our priests within the confines of their temples in the same way as we shall keep our professional army within the confines of their barracks. Army and priesthood shall receive honors high as their valuable functions deserve, but they must not interfere in the administration of the state which confers distinction upon them, else they will conjure up difficulties without and within. Every man will be as free and undisturbed in his faith or his disbelief as he is in his nationality. And so on. He says that they learned tolerance in Europe, and they should continue. They should teach tolerance and build their values on tolerance. So this is at the core of modern Zionism, of modern Zionist.
Yeah, he literally knew exactly what Daniel was going to say. This guy is incredibly predictable. He's really stupid.
Thinking to establish such a state. When the state of Israel was established in 1948, there was a consideration on, there was a debate on what this new state should be called. So, and we have a document actually, which reports about the discussions that revolved around naming the state. And according to those discussions, the founding fathers of Israel had this discussion where they say that there are several options. They could name it Palestine or Zion or Israel. It is then pointed out that they say there will most likely be an Arab state established alongside the Jewish one, And we will also have an Arab population inside our own country. So we should probably not pick Palestine because that will cause confusion. We should not pick Zion because it might cause too much anger because people will associate it with the Zionist movement, which they're already very much against. Let's just pick Israel, which is the historical land that it is. And once the declaration of Israel is made, you can see it very clearly in the Declaration of Independence of Israel. There is not a single mention of God. There is not a single religious reference except at the very end where it says the Rock of Israel, which was when the religious individuals insisted that there should be at least one hint. They included that, and that is then a matter of disagreement of what it actually refers to. Is it just a home for the Jewish people? Is it a a metaphor for God, and so on? Throughout Israeli history, from the beginning to very recent times, Israel was mostly led by the labor, center-left, secular Jewish population, which didn't really care about religion. So it's very strange to say that Israel, throughout its history, based its decision-making, its policies, its attitudes of war, and its treatment of other religions on these very, very extreme religious Talmudic understandings. And I'm using the word extreme here because I remember very well that Daniel Hikikuchu very curiously said on Twitter many times that it is Talmudic extremism or Jewish extremism that should be eradicated or rooted out, and that is a cancer to the world. So according to him, it is extremism, but somehow this very secular state that was led by left liberal people who didn't care about religion at all, which is why the religious Jews were often so much against it, somehow was abiding by these extremely religious laws. Very curious. I don't know how that happens. Connected issue.
Kid Boo, don't need tellers. Is Gen Z based or lazy when it comes to work?
Gen Z Walmart worker girl snaps on Biden boomers, telling her to just work harder. Well, you've broken the economy forever.
It's the boomers.
You're the only ones who benefited. It's hard to not feel bad for why.
I cannot stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z and calling them lazy for not wanting to work a 9-to-5 for the rest of their lives. Let me put it in perspective for everybody who's a little confused here, okay? I work 5 days out of the week, 40 hours a week, okay? I do not make enough to live on my own. I would not make enough to pay rent, water, electric, and eat.
We own nothing.
You can sit here and you can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but I've been working my tail end off just to barely make it by. And respectfully, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. And that is what you created, not Gen Z. We're just here getting started. You've been doing it for the last 20 years. You tell me how it got ruined. We can sit here and we can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but you let the economy turn into what it did. And now it's...
Yeah, I'd say based. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
There are many Jewish people around the world who are known as anti-Zionist religious Jews. And Daniel Hikikuchu knows this very well because he shared certain praises or certain reports about those people. For example, one certain group is known as Netzrei Karta. There are other groups like Satmar and other religious Jewish communities. Even his friend Mohammed Hijab, for example, or a friendly organization in the UK, Five Pillars UK, they prominently and lovingly promoted those Jewish people as real Jews, as good Jews, as anti-Zionist Jews who have humanity and so on. I want to say something very funny about that. Those Jews are Talmudic Jews. They believe in the Talmud. They follow the Talmud. They take the Talmud very seriously. And do you know what their biggest criticism of Israel has been historically? Their biggest criticism of Israel has been that Israel is not following Judaism, that it's not following religion, that it is not taking the Talmud seriously, that it is a Zionist, that it is a secular movement which Jews should not stand for because secularism is a rebellion against God. And Jews are supposed to wait for the Messiah, for the future, where God will eventually intervene and take over, and so on. So the religious Jews, the actual religious Jews who closely follow the Torah, who are known as ultra-Orthodox Jews, are the ones among whom you will find a very religious objection to the state of Israel based on the idea that Israel doesn't follow religion, whereas the secular Jews are the ones who will who have been leading Israel and who, according to Daniel Hikikuchu here, have been committing genocides and oppressions and all of that based on religious teachings. None of this makes any sense. Daniel repeatedly cites the Talmud. And he very curiously cites certain passages from the Talmud, like the one where allegedly, according to him, Jews are described as not men, not humans. It's very, very interesting that Daniel Hikikuchu would do something weird as this, because the passage in question there talks about burying people and visiting graves, and then references a certain biblical passage where then there is a discussion about whether Jews may, visit the grave at a certain time or not. And they reference the Bible where it says, "You, my people, are men." And they then say it seems to refer to Jews only. So they are the ones who are called men here, not non-Jews. So this ruling should probably not apply to non-Jews. So the entire passage is about semantics. It is not about whether Jews are humans or not, and non-Jews are humans or not. And any basic understanding of a simple text would give you that conclusion very easily. Any question directed at any rabbi in history will easily give you that conclusion. They will easily give you that response. In fact, you can find it everywhere. There are certain projects that have been established to just deal with these questions. One of them is prominently, let me see, angelfire.com, which is a very, very useful, very interesting, scholarly website that has been established just for this, where you can find, and just for those who have who are too lazy to actually look it up, I can put it right here on the screen, and you can do that right there at home. Angelfire.com Talmud. You can see here these basic responses with scholarly analysis to these objections brought up directly. And one of the most famous ones here is whether Gentiles are human or not. The very citation that Daniel Kikic just gave us, Baba Metzia 114a, 114b, only Jews are humans. And it explains it here very clearly, while also giving examples of how Gentiles are actually, have rights according to the very Talmud that is supposedly calling them animals, that it tolerates them, and so on. That doesn't make any sense. But it's very hypocritical of Daniel Kikic to go into picking certain parts of the Talmud and then trying to send this message when he would firmly object to citing the Quran, for example, when it says that the worst of creatures in the sight of Allah are those who disbelieve. That is directly in the Quran, chapter 98, verse 6. Another one is that those who disbelieve are less than cattle. Less than cattle is in the Quran. Then there is another one, which is the Jews and the Christians, or the disbelievers among the Jews and Christians and the polytheists are the worst of creatures, also from the Quran, directly from the Quran. If we cited that now, which are not just some allusions to how some are called men and others are not called men, but direct explicit verses in the Quran which say those are the worst creatures, so less than bacteria. What is Daniel Kikic going to say about that? You see, are we supposed to now accept that Islam is inherently and altogether genocidal, that it doesn't have any respect for any other people except Muslims at all, and all of that? I really wonder what Daniel Kikic's response to that will be, because he likes to do this. He likes to do the gish galloping, which he likes to accuse others of, and then, but when you do this about the Quran, then he suddenly gets all defensive. He doesn't want to accept those very same standards. He cited Amalek, which is very interesting. Daniel Kikic recently repeatedly mentioned that Netanyahu said, remember Amalek. Anyone who knows something about Judaism will know that every year there is a day in Judaism, Purim, the day before, the Sabbath before Purim, there is a passage that is read from the Bible directly, and that is in Deuteronomy, remember what Amalek did to you. This is historical in Judaism, has been done for thousands of years, and it was never ever implied there that you should take Amalek as the enemies that are currently around us and you should go and kill them. It was always a message to remember, look out for each other, defend each other, be steadfast, be righteous, be an example to the nations, and so on. This is basic Jewish teaching. I recently talked to Dr. Einat Wilf, who is, by the way, an atheist Jewish scholar of Israel, and she confirmed the very same thing. You can read Maimonides, the very person that Daniel Kikic likes to cite. He repeats the very same thing and says that teachings about Amalek are not applicable today because it is obviously historically not possible. It is only applicable in a time where such tribes were around, and may be applicable under different circumstances. And I want to be very fair here. In a time where there is a
Much love VG. You still sick? Thanks for the stream. Have a great night pal, I'll be lurking.
Yep, I'm still sick. But thanks for the donation, Kenny. Guess I'll see you around.
kingdom where God has interfered, where there is righteousness and so on. A very distant world. But hey, if you want to go to those contexts, then let's get back again to the very report which I cited, according to which the Prophet Muhammad said that you will fight the Jews and kill them wherever you find them, and you will exterminate them. Something that Muslims around the world are very, very proud of. And Daniel knows this. He himself knows this very well. And seriously, Daniel, when you cite something from a book, you make it look like you are quoting the Quran. What Daniel doesn't understand is that the Quran is a book, which he will confirm, that has commandments for every human, for all generations, timeless, no matter where in the world. The Talmud is not the very same thing at all. In Jewish history, any rabbi, any scholarly source will explain you the very same thing. The Talmud is not a book that is full of binding laws and every single word in there is to be followed. There is a passage which says that, which is often cited by these Jew haters, which says that that a non-Jew who studies the Torah should be executed. What's very funny about that passage is that on the very same page you will find that they should not be executed, and that Gentiles who study the Torah are considered scholars. How does that make sense? Well,
30 seconds.
Because the Talmud is a book which contains vast discussions between scholars in order to interpret the very texts that they believe in. It is not a book that is strictly made of explicit laws that everyone should follow. It is studied in Judaism, in rabbinic Judaism, in order to understand Jewish scholarship, not in order to understand, okay, we will do this and this and this and this, because that's exactly what the Talmud says.
You got it. Thank you very much for that rebuttal. We are going to kick it over to Daniel for his rebuttal as well. Do want to let you know, folks, hey, if you haven't yet...
I'm going to guess he's going to shit the bed completely again.
Hit that like button, not for me, but for
Dude,
you,
Daniel's
so that you can tell YouTube that you enjoy
just
content like this, juicy, controversial topics, so that YouTube can serve you exactly what you like.
How did this go on for 4
Thank you
hours?
very much, Daniel. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, so I want to also dedicate this debate to the over 24,000 Palestinians that have been murdered by the terror state of Israel, the over 8,000 children that have been killed and sent to heaven by the terror state of Israel.
So apparently Israel is sending children to heaven, but that's a bad thing. What a fucking idiot. If they're going to heaven, aren't they doing them a favor, you fucking moron?
This is a debate about genocide and the religious roots of genocide. The attacks of October 7th, this was a military operation. It has not been proven that most of those who were killed on October 7th or who died on October 7th were civilians. In fact,
it has been proven. They know pretty much everybody who died. I think it was only something like, around 300 were members of the IDF, and some of them were reservists.
Are that most of them were part of the IDF as either soldiers or reservists. And furthermore, it seems that most...
So, no. He's just repeating misinformation. I think there was something like somewhere around 250, 300 people in the mass killing that were part of the IDF who were either active members or reservists.
How could SJWS defend Palestine like this?
Because they're retarded, Dodo. That's really the answer for anything. Thanks for the donation, dude. So, Israel has mandatory military service, and a lot of people, after they finish their mandatory military service, they apply as reservists. So, when you include reservists into the whole, they weren't actually civilians, they were reservists, it's kind of bullshit. There's mandatory military service, and a lot of people just, decide to be on the reserves after they complete their service. So it's not the same thing as them being, active, it's not the same thing as somebody actually joining the US military and being a reservist. Totally different.
Most of them were actually killed by Israel itself. You have now...
Okay, well, that's a lie. We know for sure this is being proven by geolocate that Israel did not kill any of the people on October 7th. There was that claim that Apache helicopters shot actual Israelis that was confirmed to be false. They even released communications between these Apache helicopter pilots where they were refusing to fire because they couldn't positively identify targets.
eyewitnesses and even members of the Israeli military saying that actually it was Israeli tanks and Israeli helicopters who were launching Hellfire missiles at both Palestinians and
Yeah, so this is just like bottom of the barrel, lowest hanging fruit, dumbest fucking retarded horseshit that's being debunked months ago that he's spewing. I don't even know why the fuck he agreed to debate this.
Israelis indiscriminately. And this happened at the music festival. It happened in the kibbutzim. So many testimonies from Israeli witnesses themselves who are testifying to this and saying that Israel was operating. In fact, it was reported by Ynet, one of the biggest and most important sites on from Israel, that the Hannibal Directive was invoked by Israeli military personnel. And the Hannibal Directive is that Israel, the military, will attack not only combatants, but also its own civilians if those civilians are being taken as hostages. This is the Hannibal Doctrine, and it's meant to prevent Israel being in a position of having to negotiate on the basis of releasing hostages.
So please explain to me how there's about 250 hostages taken, dumb fuck, if there's this Hannibal Directive. What a fucking moron.
These hostages. Or many of the people at this music festival or on the kibbutzim in southern Israel, they occupied southern Israel. They were actually killed by the IDF itself. And there are many reports that prove this, whereas reports that Palestinians were beheading 40 babies and were just mutilating pregnant women, none of this has.
Yeah, so the 40 babies thing, oh my fucking god, like we're never gonna hear the end of it. It was a misquote. Some journalist misquoted a fucking IDF member, and then I think fucking what's his name, Biden repeated that misinformation too, but no one ever deliberately tried to spread this kind of misinformation. It was just a misquote.
Has been established by forensics. Even my debate opponent was one of the ones who spread this myth of 40 dead, beheaded babies. Turned out to be complete atrocity propaganda, lies that the Israeli military and the Israeli state has been pushing. Now, to go to the arguments that my opponent made regarding the hadith, his entire argument about what's happening in Israel is on the basis of one hadith, and is the hadith regarding the Gharqad tree. And he claims that this hadith, which he presented on the screen, proves that Muslims are commanded to just kill Jews everywhere that you find.
And Spec King of Palestine support. Look at Dark Sovia's latest post here.
Let me see. If you still support Israel in spite of all the evidence out there of Israeli officials advertising their genocidal intent, IDF soldiers posting their crimes on social media, photos of dead children in Gaza, yeah, well, he's a fucking retard. Who cares? Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
But even the hadith that he read disproves what he was saying, because the hadith says fight. It says fight, which means in war, that this is a war that is to be fought between Muslims and Jews. And the proof, like the one...
I'm sorry, but that still sounds like a genocide, you idiot.
Single evidence and proof that debunks his entire presentation and his entire argument is...
Dude, like, Apostate Prophet is just baffled. Like, he's like, if you actually read the Hadith, it says, wage war with Jews. Like, what?
That Jews have been living with Muslims historically for over 1,400 years.
The only reason Muslims were living with Jews is because either A, they didn't have the military might to conquer and kill them all, or B, the Jews were paying them money so that they wouldn't get attacked and murdered. That's the only fucking reason. No other, like, it's not because Muslims are friendly, peace-loving people that they were living with Jews. No, it's because either A, Prophet Muhammad didn't have the military force to reliably be able to defeat them and kill them, or B, they were paying a tax, they're giving the Prophet Muhammad and the Muslims money so that they wouldn't get attacked.
Even within Palestine itself. Before 1917, you have Jews who were living in Palestine. They were the small minority, but they had their own villages. They had their own...
And by the way, this is before Hamas existed too, dumbass, so...
religious family court. They had their own villages in Palestine before 1917, before the occupation began. So if the command was for Muslims to just kill Jews wherever you find them, then how are Jews living there peacefully in Palestine?
They weren't living
How
there
is it that
peacefully.
Jews throughout history have attested
That's
to the
why
fact
they
that when
left.
Christians were launching pogroms against them, it was the Muslims who protected them and the Muslims who actually sheltered Jews from the Christians? If the hadith was to kill all Jews no matter what till the end of time, then why didn't that actually take place? Why was there all of this protection of Jews and they're able to live in Muslim lands peacefully?
What?
Was the one thing of hummus empty?
What?
One of your hummus boxes, was it empty?
No. I put it away in the fridge.
They're both out here.
Really?
And,
Okay, I must have forgotten.
Faye opened it and she inhaled the whole thing.
Okay, great.
For literally centuries and generations. So
Yeah,
this
well, I
simple
didn't mean
fact
to,
completely
obviously.
debunks, Ridvan's argument. Furthermore, this hadith is about eschatology. It's about end of times. It's about a specific battle that will take place between Muslims and Jews. There's also hadith about a battle, a major battle between Muslims and Christians that happen at the end of time. Now, if we want to talk about eschatology, why don't we talk about Jewish eschatology? Why not don't we talk about how in the Mishnah Torah and the Talmud and other authoritative Jewish texts, the end of times comes with the Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, who comes to eradicate all religions, kill all idolaters, kill all Christians basically, and force them to give up Christianity, destroys the Vatican, destroys every place of worship from other religions. This is within Jewish eschatology. And within the Talmud, we also read, and I'll give you the reference right now, that each Jew in the age to come will have 2,800 slaves, 2,800 non-Jewish slaves. This is what Judaism teaches about the end of times, and you can read that directly in the Talmud. And the reference is Shabbat 32b.
Here we go.
Anyone who is vigilant in performing the mitzvah of ritual fringes merits that 2,800 slaves will serve him in the world to come. So these are texts that I wonder what Ridvan thinks about and whether he will condemn them or not, because in his rebuttal, he hasn't condemned any of these texts. He hasn't condemn any of these Jewish teachings, which I find very fascinating. Now, let me get to some of his other claims here. He made a claim about the Hamas charter. So let's read that. If you go to the Jewish Virtual Library, and I put a link, again, go to muslimskeptic.com, and you have on the homepage all of the references that I'm using, and I've linked the Hamas covenant from the Jewish Virtual Library. And this is from 1988. And I'll quote in section F, followers of other religions, the Islamic resistance movement, meaning Hamas, is a humanistic movement. Article 31 says the Islamic resistance movement, meaning Hamas, is a humanistic movement. It takes care of human rights and is guided by Islamic tolerance when dealing with the followers of other religions. It does not antagonize any one of them, except if it's antagonized by it or stands in the way to hamper its moves and wastes its efforts. Under the wing of Islam, it's possible for the followers of the three religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, to coexist in peace and quiet with each other.
Here we go.
Peace and quiet would not be possible except under the wing of Islam. Past and present history are the best witness to that. It is the duty of the followers of other religions to stop disputing the sovereignty of Islam in this region, because the day these followers should take over, there will be nothing but carnage, displacement, and terror. So this is from Hamas. This is their 1988 covenant, their charter. You can go read it. Then they had another updated charter in 2017.
Didn't they make the statement as like a literal joke that, oh, we want to get along and, you know, we want to have a mixed society with... Wasn't that stated as like a literal fucking joke?
Here we go getting vomitrilogen into this.
Yes, thanks for that donation, Dodo.
A revised covenant, and it says here in the section Zionist Project, you can also find it in the Jewish...
Like, this is just insane whack job levels of cope. Hamas controls the school system in Gaza, and they're all instructed to, like, kill Jews, and the best thing you can do with your life is to kill Jews. They have children's programs teaching children that Jews are, like, subhuman and everything. Like, where the fuck do you think this is coming from? And then he's, like, trying to gaslight people into thinking, oh, well, Hamas is actually peace-loving.
virtual library. It says the Zionist project is a racist, aggressive, colonial, and expansionist project based on seizing the properties of others. It's hostile to the Palestinian people and to their aspirations for freedom, liberation, return, and self-determination. The Israeli entity is the plaything of the Zionist project and its base of aggression. The Zionist project does not target the Palestinian people alone. It's the enemy of the Arab and Islamic Ummah, posing a grave threat to its security and interests. It's also hostile to the Ummah's aspirations for unity, renaissance, and liberation. Has been a major source of its troubles. The Zionist project also poses a danger to international security and peace and to mankind and its interests and stability. Hamas affirms that its conflict is with the Zionist project, not with the Jews, because of their religion. Hamas does not wage a struggle against the Jews because they're Jewish, but wages a struggle against the Zionists who occupy Palestine. Yet it is the Zionists who constantly identify Judaism and the Jews with their own colonial project and illegal entity. Hamas rejects the persecution of any human being or the undermining of his or her rights on nationalist, religious, or sectarian grounds. Hamas is of the view that the Jewish problem, anti-Semitism, and the persecution of the Jews are phenomena fundamentally linked to European history and not to the history of the Arabs and the Muslims or their heritage. The Zionist movement, which was able with the help of Western powers to occupy Palestine, is the most dangerous form of settlement occupation, which has already disappeared from much of the world and must disappear from Palestine. So this is what the actual Hamas charter says. So quite different from the Hasbara propaganda that my opponent recited for you. He also mentioned that Israel was originally secular in nature, but this is contradictory by Theodore Herzl and other founders of the Israeli state, like Ben Gurion, who explicitly wanted to establish a Jewish state, a Jewish ethno-state. How can you be an unbiased state, an unbiased secular state, if you are going to be designed as a Jewish ethno-state? This makes no sense. And when you actually look at the laws that are on the books within Israel, the apartheid is clear that no, it is not a secular state in the sense that all religion and all races are equal. No, in fact, there's a preference given to Jews, Jewish Israelis. If you're Arab, if you're Palestinian, if you're non-Jewish, then you are discriminated against in this matter.
Right, that's why they have all the same rights, and half their fucking parliament is Arab. Right, that makes sense.
Massive apartheid state. And there are reports that we can look at with Human Rights Watch, with Amnesty International. Even former President Jimmy Carter has described Israel as the apartheid state and written a book about it. So the objections or rebuttal of Ridvan are exactly as expected. He is claiming that Jews are not really religious, they're secular. This is an objection that my opening statement anticipated. It's not just if Jewish people say, I'm religious Jew, it's about the culture, the influence of the Talmud on the culture of Jews in Israel and outside of Israel. He also mentioned anti-Zionist Jews. So this is like a small marginal percentage. Only 5% of Jews are anti-Zionist. The vast majority of Jews support Israel, and they support Jewish dominance in Israel as an ethno-state. He mentions an Angel Fire site or whatever that is. That's just an apologetic site. You have so many sites that say, oh, Islam is peace. There's no such thing as jihad in Islam, and all of these apologetics. And I, as an objective person, will point out, and have pointed out in my debates, that these are just apologetics that are not authentic to the actual religious teachings. Jews and Christians have analogs of this as well, and they have websites. And this is what the opponent, Ridvan, is pointing to. So what? You know, he doesn't accept if someone comes and debates him and says, oh, Islam is peace. He doesn't just accept that. He says, oh, this is apologetics. Let's look at the hadith. Let's look at the Quran. I'm doing the same thing. I'm saying these sites are just pure apologetics. When we actually look at the texts, we can see exactly the claims that I'm making about Judaism's racism, superiority complex, etc. It's violence, rape as a weapon of war. I didn't cite one text. So my opponent says that, well, this one Talmudic passage about non-Jews not being human, oh, you're reading this out of context. Really? It's not just one passage in the Talmud. It's multiple passages. What about the passage in the Jerusalem Talmud about kill even the best of Gentiles? You didn't address that. Comparing Gentiles to snakes, kill the best of snakes. You didn't address that. What's the context there? What about killing a non-Jew who has been raped, a 3-year-old non-Jew? I referenced the Mishnah Torah. I referenced the Shulchan Aruch. I mentioned all of these authoritative religious texts. You haven't addressed any of them. The fact this idea of racial superiority is not limited to one passage of the Talmud. It's an overall concept that is repeated by many rabbis, many religious authorities, past and present. A little hand wave and, oh, this is out of context. That's really weak. That's really weak. The Mishnah Torah says that the authoritative rule is that a non-Jew who studies the Talmud is to be killed. So just to correct one of the things that my opponent mentioned, also to correct one thing that he mentioned, he said Amalek is something that is not actually relevant. Yes, it is. When Benjamin Netanyahu references Amalek and says, don't forget Amalek in reference to the Palestinians, it is relevant. It is relevant. When members of the Israeli Knesset, when members of the IDF are singing about the only mitzvah that we will follow is the mitzvah to kill Amalek, they're singing this like on TikTok. IDF soldiers are singing this. That means that is relevant. Also, your claims about me supporting pedophilia, this is garbage. This is, if you want to look at pedophilia, look at what the Talmud says about marriage to a 3-year-old, including sexual intercourse. And I cited some of that. We can cite that more of those passages in the open dialogue, but that you have completely misrepresented my views. But we can talk about it more in the open dialogue.
This is on 1.25 speed, not 1 times speed.
We'll jump into the open dialogue. Just a couple of quick housekeeping things. Folks, if you didn't notice, at the top of the chat is a poll. What is at the cause of the Israel-Palestine conflict? It's already got 1,300 votes. So if you haven't yet, the options are Islam, Judaism, neither, or both. So do check out that poll that's here at the Modern Day Debate live chat here on YouTube, and you can put your vote in there. We're going to jump into the open dialogue. I got to say, gentlemen, if you could do me a favor, the biggest thing is you just want to make sure you have equal time and that there's minimal interrupting. A little bit, we can let it slide. We don't want to be too structured, but at the same time, if I have to, I got to jump in and put us into 1 or 2 minute segment responses. So if we want to keep that more organic discussion, please do me a favor. Work with me here. All right, gentlemen, thanks so much. The floor is all yours.
So I want to just clarify with Ridwan. Do you condemn these teachings of Judaism? Do you condemn them? Like, are we on the same page? Do you condemn those teachings of the Torah?
You just finished your rebuttal. It would be probably nice.
It's open dialogue. We can both of us can talk. Do you condemn?
I know.
Do you condemn the teaching? Do you condemn those teachings? It's a simple question. It's a simple question. Do you condemn what the Talmud says about non-Jews? Do you condemn the raping of 3-year-olds? Yes or no?
It doesn't say rape 3-year-olds.
Yes, it does. You want me to read the Mishnah Torah again?
This is not a cross-examination section. This is not a cross-examination.
I'm just asking you.
Okay, no, I don't.
You don't? So you're fine with killing the non-Gentile 3-year-old who has been raped. You're fine with it.
Killing the non-Gentile? No, I'm not. I'm not fine with it.
So you condemn?
I said I don't condemn it. This is a false choice. You are presenting it as if it is true and it must be condemned, or it is true and I approve of it. That's not the case here. This is a
Oh please, he probably does support pedophile by his techings.
Well, he does. He's literally stated he's in favor of, like, 11-month-old babies getting married and being raped. He stated that in his fucking debate with, what's his name? The Christian guy. He's a fucking piece of shit. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Fallacy. As somebody who is supposed to have studied so much logic and psychology, you should know this. No, I don't condemn it, and I also don't acknowledge that it's a thing, so I don't approve of it. That's how simple it is.
Okay, do you want me to read that it's a thing? You deny that it's a thing. You deny that it's a thing. So do you want me to read the passages again? Do you want me to read the passages again?
Gentlemen, one second. I want to give you guys a chance if you want to talk about this, but this is the last thing. I want to give you a chance to ask apostate prophet Daniel, and then we're going to give apostate prophet a chance to ask
if you wanted a cross-examination section, you should have asked for it. Okay, because that's how it works.
We can have 1 minute, 2 minute back and forth.
If you'd really like it, if 2 questions at a time is too much, we can have it be for apostate. If you want to ask one now, and then we'll let Daniel come.
No,
back
you know what? My suggestion is actually, if Daniel wants to do this so much, let's have another debate and let's prepare for only cross-examination, and then we'll see what happens. How about that?
You're not prepared to talk about the Judaism?
No. I would like to, if you like to do a cross.
Yeah, so he's doing the typical Muslim apologist bullshit of just trying to steamroll the opponent, not letting them talk, and then just making red herrings constantly.
I mean, cross-examination.
I asked you a question.
I would like to.
As I mentioned, gentlemen, I have to jump in just because, as we mentioned. So it sounds like AP is saying, hey, why don't we just do one question each direction at a time? That's fine, we can do that. Well, let's get
it is stupid to say, I want to ask you this question, then I reject the question, and then you push me to respond to it the way you want, and otherwise you will not move on. That's ridiculous. This is not a fruitful conversation.
We'll give you a chance to ask your question now, AP, of Daniel.
Okay, so Daniel gave a long speech here, and he included something at the very end, and I want to ask him about that, because he seems to be very sure, and he seems to be presenting to the audience this idea that I misrepresented him. Daniel, do you accept for me to play a brief video of you saying that it's okay for men to marry little children?
People know the clip.
Are you okay with it or not?
We can play it, yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll play the video now. Since you said that I misrepresented you, I will share the sound of it and play it right here. So you said this is garbage, I misrepresented you.
When there are signs of physical maturity, it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Starting puberty unusually early.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from a man marrying a 5-year-old that started precocious puberty?
You can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
Could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible. As I
said,
said,
age 4?
If there are signs
3.
of, so this is something that becomes biologically impossible because
I have a
precocity,
study that shows it goes as early as 11 months.
Well, that's something that the parents would not. See, the thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages, and when you look at the marriage. All right, so can I respond to your misrepresentation?
Presented you, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, dude, you got caught in 4K.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I gave you a chance to condemn the rape of a 3-year-old and killing the 3-year-old after. You didn't have a condemnation for that, so your moral compass is not really a standard here. So if you have yeah, you did because you said that I support pedophilia. I support marriage, like every other religion, like every other culture within history. Yeah, laugh it up, but we're laughing at you, Apis. We're laughing at the fact that I read you about raping 3-year-olds and killing them, and you couldn't condemn that, right? So when you have marriage tied to puberty, you can give these ridiculous scenarios like, oh, what if a 11th month old has puberty, or what if the embryo in the womb has puberty, like Googling philosophy was talking about. Like, that's ridiculous. In every culture, you have when girls and boys, they reach puberty, which can happen as young as 8 or 9 years old, then marriage is going to be considered. In the current secular world, there's plenty of
This guy doesn't even realize how bad he sounds. Like, holy fuck. He's talking about raping 8 or 9-year-olds, and then he's like, yeah, that's normal.
sex that 8 and 9 and 10-year-olds are having. You have no problem, Apis, with 8 and 9-year-olds having sex in these public schools. You have no problem with that. Why? Because you don't support any kind of legislation to ban it. So that kind of sex is happening because it's natural when you reach puberty to start desiring for that kind of behavior. Islam and traditional religions regulate that, including Judaism. Judaism doesn't have like an anti-minor marriage stance. It's actually the most extreme in allowing marriage to happen and sex to happen without any regard to puberty. And those are the passages that I read you from the Mishnah Torah. And you don't want to talk about Judaism, you want to talk about me. So I'm just explaining to you that the stance that I have is the stance that every religion has had traditionally, that Judaism has. And your stance is incoherent because you're fine with 8 and 9-year-olds or even younger having sex in public schools.
Are you done? So this is not about what I think of child marriage. This is about what you said. It's very interesting. I said that you are a pedophilia activist, and you said that men should be able to marry and have sex with 7, 5, 4-year-olds and so on. You said that is garbage, and I misrepresented you. Then I played the video, and now you say I misrepresented you as a pedophilia activist. You're not a pedophilia activist. You are pro-marriage. So marriage to little children, not just sex with. That doesn't even make any sense. And I even explicitly said you allow, or you think it's okay for men to marry and have sex with little children.
Dude, are you kidding? No, we don't justify that at all.
Yes. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
So here is just a clear example of that. This is not about the discussion on pedophilia. This is
there's a hypothetical presented. There's a hypothetical presented.
Stop interrupting me. I just let you speak.
I said hypothetical. That's the misrepresentation.
Okay, hypothetically having sex with 4-year-old children. Good, fantastic. Thank you. Wow.
Who have reached puberty, which is a physical impossibility. Yeah. What's your point?
So in that scenario, you accepted that as a possibility and said, if there are signs, it would be okay. But
if
now
that were possible, if that were possible in some bizarre world. Yeah.
So
in some bizarre world, an 11-month-old or even a 1-month-old could be hitting puberty.
Daniel,
hypothetical alternative reality.
Can a 4-year-old girl have precocious puberty, early signs of puberty?
I don't know of any cases of that.
You confirmed it right there in your debate with Inspiring Philosophy.
No, I confirmed precocious puberty.
That's
precocious puberty is 7 or 8. Yeah, not 4-year-old.
No, Michael cited the study to you. It goes as early as 11 months.
And we debunked the study that he cited. He doesn't know how to read a study. We had a medical doctor sit and debunk his nonsense.
I don't
you
want to
want
go
me to play the
too
video
far,
again for
just
you?
because the
this is
topic
just a
that
repeating of,
the topic
like, a
that I
previous
promised
debate.
everybody today is on the war in particular. So I do want to redirect
Sure,
this
sure, yeah.
back before we go.
I mean,
too far.
everybody has seen what Daniel denies, and then we can clearly see him saying that.
We just saw you deny the rape of a 3-year-old in the Mishnah
You have to
Torah.
go back, gentlemen. I hate to do this, but
No, we're talking about
Okay,
Judaism.
okay,
This is the law within Judaism, and it's tied to what the IDF is doing in Palestine right now. They're raping children.
Do you have evidence of them raping children?
Yeah, their own statements. This own statement of the IDF, making TikTok videos, soldiers saying that, yeah, I raped a 14-year-old and killed her. You know,
Do you have? Do we
so
have
happy about that.
Do you have evidence of the IDF raping children? Can you provide evidence of
Their,
the IDF
their
raping
statements,
children?
their own testimony. Their own
where,
testimony.
Where do you have? Can you present the evidence?
I don't have the screen share.
Good. Okay, fantastic.
Oh, so just trust me, bro. That's his evidence.
Yeah,
But we can. People will post the TikTok. I retweeted it.
I thought so. Yeah. You said that I shared. You said my opponent shared the propaganda of 40 beheaded babies. Can you show me where exactly, or can you tell me where exactly and when exactly I said that
happy to.
Hamas beheaded 40 babies?
Yeah, happy to share that with you right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Give me 1 second.
in the meantime, folks, do want to remind you our guests are linked in the description. That includes at the podcast. You can find our guests linked below.
Dude, this is total clown mode.
TikTok is the best.
Yeah, on October 10th, you tweeted, they indiscriminately eradicated entire families and communities and then complained about the retaliations. Savages. So you're quoting a Hamas article. This was October 10th. Then someone replied to this article that you shared. Hamas slaughtered babies and children in kibbutz massacre. Bodies of dead infants discovered as Israeli soldiers enter Kfar Aza, one of the last villages to be recaptured from the territories. Then someone replied to you, last I heard, the claim about baby slaughter is not confirmed yet. It's just some people claiming they saw bodies. And then you replied, it is confirmed that children and babies are killed. The specific claim about 40 babies, some of which were beheaded, was confirmed by multiple different sources and only disputed by one source. That was your tweet on 12:45 a.m., October 11th, 2023.
So, according to what you just quoted from me, I said that multiple sources have confirmed that children and a report of babies killed, some of them beheaded. However, you said in your rebuttal, that I promoted or shared the theory or the propaganda that 40 babies were beheaded.
Yeah, you did. The tweet I just read.
Yet you just quoted me, not saying that at all, but just confirming that there are confirmed reports of babies killed, some beheaded.
Yeah, you're spreading this. You're spreading this nonsense.
Which one is it now? Did I say there are confirmed reports of children and babies killed, some beheaded, or did I say 40 babies were beheaded?
You said reports of 40 babies killed, some of them beheaded, is confirmed. Yeah, you spread that.
Good.
You spread that.
So I didn't say I didn't say 40 babies were beheaded. Good.
Yes, you did. You said 40 babies, some of them beheaded. Yeah. That's the entire propaganda that you were spreading. Now we know that it's not 40 babies. Now we know that there is no evidence of 40 babies. All of those confirmed reports were complete propaganda, complete lies, and you spread it just like you spread all these other lies about the supposed atrocities committed by Palestine.
I don't understand if you are aware, but it looks like you don't understand simple English statements here. And this is not a big surprise because you recently cited an article which says that the IDF confirms that 3,000 Hamas militants have been killed. You made a video posting that and said this article confirms that 3,000 IDF soldiers were killed, which is so weird. How would you read the article, you put it on the screen, you highlighted it. You said, according to their own sources, 3,000 IDF soldiers were killed. And the article actually says 3,000 Hamas militants were killed. Are you aware?
May have been an editing mistake. But,
great. It was
but your statement, you're pushing the 40 dead baby myth. You haven't retracted that. You doubled down on it.
Actually,
you
I
doubled
have.
down it.
Actually,
okay,
I have.
So now you do retract.
No, I didn't retract. I actually explained it very well. And it's
so
right here.
What do you mean you didn't retract it?
It's right here. Short explanation on the 40 beheaded baby story. If you want to look at it so much to my Twitter,
they did. IDF did claim.
IDF never claimed 40 babies.
The Israeli government and the U.S. government. Joe Biden went on TV and he said that there are 40 dead babies.
Yeah, so Joe Biden isn't the IDF.
Beheaded babies.
Actually, no, he did not.
Yes, he did. Yes,
he did not. His exact words were not that. He said that.
Look, why does he get screen sharing privileges? Can I share my screen?
He did. Biden never said there were 40.
Yeah, let's make this neutral, James. Like he can just share his screen whenever he wants.
Joe Biden never said there were 40 beheaded babies. Okay.
I muted himself.
Okay, well, in previous debates, we agreed to share screen for opening statements. not just in the open dialogue people can share. Otherwise, how am I going to coordinate my
Okay, so
OBS?
okay, well, hold on, AP, just a second. I think he was asking me, not you. Is that you can as well if you'd like. There was never any rule that said you can't share during
I wasn't
the
aware
dialogue.
of that. I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, well, you're welcome to. So if you,
it was probably the Jews.
do you hold on, AP? If you want a chance to right now, Daniel, since you didn't know, not a big deal. If you want to right now, feel free to launch into it. People will see it.
Yeah,
as long as he wants.
Okay, this is a fantastic opportunity. You just claimed that Joe Biden said there were 40 beheaded babies. Can you show us that?
Yeah, let me pull it up.
And it has to be that, not something else that you say could refer to that. It has to be him saying 40 beheaded babies or 40 babies, 40 dead babies, something like that. Go ahead and show us, please. I'm very curious to see that. This is going so very, very well so far. I really appreciate this debate.
It's going really well for you, Apos. You didn't address any of the claims of Judaism. You didn't condemn Judaism. It's very interesting that you have all these critiques of Islam, but when I talk about Jewish law, you have nothing to say. It's actually looking very good for you.
That's very good. By the way, I want to say one thing, just one disclaimer. Now you repeatedly call me Apus, which is an insult. Which is an insult that was created by
you call me a pedophile.
One of your dear friends.
Pedophile advocate. That's what you're calling me, right?
Okay, I just want to clarify.
That's not, is that insult? Is that insult?
No, it's a fact. I just want to clarify one thing. So I'm okay with you insulting me, but I have to say, if you continue insulting me, I will also refer to Muhammad as a child molester. Is that okay with you?
Do you see my screen now?
Is that okay with you? I just asked you a question.
Do you see my screen or no?
Yes, we can.
I do. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you call me,
you see this? White House walks back Biden's claim he saw children beheaded by Hamas.
Okay.
U.S. president spokesperson say comments were based on news reports and claims of Israeli officials. So let me get on my screen.
So he's lying again.
Because now I have to set up a screen share on this as well.
Folks, in the meantime, I want to let you know you can find both of our guests linked in the description, and also.
Good evening, VG. I hope that you are doing great tonight. So, did you hear about the new film coming this February regarding Christian nationalism? This film spotlights its threat to democracy.
I did not hear about this, no.
America and Christianity are like baseball and apple pie, and we celebrate them together.
I was 16, 17 years old when I became a Christian. I'm an evangelical minister.
I've been a Christian my whole life.
I'm a Christian nationalist. I have nothing to be ashamed of because that's what most Americans are.
Is Christian nationalism Christian? No, it isn't.
We should be blazing forth as a countercultural example, and instead, we're leading the charge of malice and division.
Christian nationalism uses Christianity as a means to an end, that end being some form of authoritarianism.
Being a Christian is about the values of inclusion. Christian nationalism is certainly not based on the values of the gospel.
God wants America to be saved. They're told over and over and over again that you're in danger.
You need to fight if you don't want to lose your country.
We are in a civil war between good and evil.
This is not a movement about Christian values. This is about Christian power.
What happens to the people who don't believe this stuff?
We are on the precipice.
God is on our side. We're taking our nation back.
The thing that keeps me up at night is that we lose democracy.
Does that seem possible?
Yes.
Christianity at its best is committed to love and truth and justice. If we do this right, what a country we will be.
Whatever.
Also want to let you know that poll at the top of the chat has over 2,000 votes now. That's what is at the cause of the Israel-Palestine war. And the choices are Islam, Judaism, neither or both. We're going to close that shortly. With that, I'll kick it back over to you, Daniel.
Okay, so do you see this? What do you have to say about this? This is a report.
Okay, where do you have Joe Biden?
White House claims Biden saw photos of terrorists beheading children. in Israel-Hamas war.
You just claimed Joe Biden also said.
So how are you going to work this out? How are you going to work this out? I want.
Are you scared of me asking you the actual question, Daniel? You just claimed that Joe Biden himself said that there are beheaded babies. Where can you tell me where he said that, please?
White House, NBC News. White House clarifies Biden's claim he saw photos of terrorists beheading children. So not only did he see pictures of beheaded babies, he actually claimed to see Hamas beheading babies.
Okay, he said beheading children. You just said Joe Biden talked about beheaded babies, or spread the same story about beheaded babies. Can you show us where he said that?
President Joe Biden painted a vivid picture of the horrors of the Israeli-Hamas war in remarks to Jewish community leaders Wednesday, but the White House later had to clarify his claims. I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. Biden said in broader remarks about his administration's support for Israel amid its war with Hamas and efforts to free American hostages. The White House did not immediately respond to requests for further details about Biden's remarks. Two senior administration officials said Biden was referring to reports from Israel about beheaded children and cited several media reports of beheadings. NBC News has not confirmed those reports. IDF spokesperson Doran Spielman told NBC News that specific report and that number I can't confirm. And a spokesperson for Netanyahu said Wednesday that toddlers and babies were found in Kfar Aza, a kibbutz in southern Israel, with their heads decapitated after Hamas's attack over the weekend.
But where are the 40 babies? And where did Joe Biden say that he said that
he saw beheaded children? So your entire rebuttal to this is that no, he said children. He didn't say babies.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let's say Joe Biden makes a statement that is inaccurate, right? Or that is wrong, and we can criticize him for that, and many did, and I did too, by the way.
Not at the time. Not at the time.
So, okay.
After the fact, when it was debunked, it's easy to say that. Oh well, okay, I don't stand by that.
Nothing is being granted here, Daniel. You're lying here by omission.
No, I'm not lying.
Joe Biden, you said that Joe Biden confirmed the story of 40 beheaded babies. He said beheaded babies. Yet in the article we just read, right in front of us, it says that he saw confirmed pictures of children beheaded. So what is it now? Is it 40 beheaded babies or is it children beheaded? Which one is it now, Daniel? Because if you want to take one false statement or one ambiguous statement and say, look, he made a mistake, therefore he agreed to this, that's not how it works. That's not how anything works.
Yeah, you're right. You got me. I said
yes,
I said babies instead of children. Yeah,
yes,
it was great. Really big own there. It was a gotcha moment.
Thank you for the demonstration. I indeed got you. Yeah. You further claimed that the IDF, that most of the civilians that died in Israel were killed by the IDF, didn't you?
I said there are some reports that a lot of the ones who are killed in Israel were killed by the IDF. You want me to pull up those reports?
I'm pretty sure you said mostly killed by the IDF.
Let's pull up the sources.
Do you not stand by that now, or what?
Yeah, let's pull up the sources so I can quote exactly.
Can you tell us which source that is?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it. Hold on.
Is it going to be Electronic Intifada?
No, it's gonna be Ynet.
Quds News.
Are you aware of Ynet?
Yes, I am. Does it say that?
Right. Is that Hamas source too?
No.
Is that Hamas source or not?
No. Does it say most civilians were killed by IDF?
Let's open the source.
Okay.
And read it.
Okay, go ahead. Because it is beyond reasonable doubt proven that the civilians were not mostly killed by IDF, and it is also not proven that many people were killed by the IDF. In fact, you presented a whole narrative here that it now shows that at the rave, the IDF came in with helicopters and killed people, and there are witness accounts. Daniel, can you name one witness, or can you name one source which says that they saw the IDF come in and shoot at people at the rave? From helicopters.
He said with Hellfire missiles as well.
I'm pressing you on every single one of these claims because all of this is a lie, and you do this every single time. Every debate that you go into, you make these baseless claims without any single piece of evidence. This is a complete lie.
We're seeing the evidence. We're seeing the evidence right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Show us.
Tavian donated $2. Can vegans benefit from a higher dose of creatine than non-vegans with weight equivalent? Possibly. Any science on this for a vegan specifically? I weigh 167 pounds, very lean. Should I take 3, 5, or more grams? Also, what phone to use? What is the model name? For your body weight, 5 grams should be enough. I think there's like a recommendation per kilogram of body weight. I can't remember what it was, but if you weigh like well over 200 pounds, probably want closer to 10 grams. If you weigh like around 150, 5 grams should be enough. I have a Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. I think that's what it is. Thanks for the donation, Tavian.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. So this is a Ynet article.
Mhm.
We can go to it. It says Israel ordered all combat units on October 7th to stop Palestinian fighters from returning to Gaza with captives at all costs. Quote,
Don't read the
Ynet,
tweet, read the
this
article.
was an order to use the Hannibal procedure, although without clearly mentioning this explicit name. About 70 vehicles were shot by a combat helicopter, an anti-tank missile, or a tank, and at least in some cases, everyone in the vehicle was
don't read
killed.
the tweet, read the
It is not
article.
clear. Dude, you're such an idiot. Here's the article. Like the article is misrepresenting. You
Okay.
see this?
Yes, yes. Can you show us where the article, it's where it says that it is
No, this is a
that there's
screenshot.
evidence,
Hold on.
it is proven, there are witness accounts that the IDF helicopters went in and destroyed the or killed people. Go ahead, show us. Come on.
Yeah.
This is just like when you cite a research paper and you only read us what a summary by somebody says about it, whereas the content of it doesn't say anything like that at all. You're doing a fantastic job right now, by the way. Great track record.
Hold on. Let me pull it up.
Another lie exposed right there. Ynet article with Google Translate. Let's see what it says.
You know Hebrew? You want to read the Hebrew?
No.
Is it true that you think private businesses shouldn't be able to get government contracts if they support BDS? I was watching you yesterday and you seemed to get angry when the topic was brought up. Who pissed in your Cheerios yesterday? Hope you feel okay.
I don't know. Boycotting Israel is bullshit, so I don't know how I feel about that exactly. Thanks for the donation though, anti-IBS.
Let's go ahead and see what it says. You never really read this, did you?
On the morning of October 7th, several impressive episodes of heroism and sacrifice were recorded in the history of the country, but also a long series of failures, malfunctions, and chaos in the army. The 7 days investigation that will be published tomorrow outlines the first hours of Black Sabbath, a command system that failed almost completely and was completely blinded. Fighters who, due to a lack of communication, had to direct aid from the air using the cell phone. Marines who brought fighters into battle with weapons without intentions or ceramic vests. Old and unadapted orders are pasted by copy, paste, and sent to the field, blah, blah, blah.
All right. Where is it? Come on, Daniel. Come on. You made a big claim. Show us. Where is it? Where is the evidence? Go ahead, show us.
One of the revelations revealed, just hold on, clown. One of the revelations revealed in the investigation is that at midnight on October 7th, the IDF ordered all of its combat units in practice to use the Hannibal procedure. Although without clearly mentioning this explicit name, the order was to stop at all costs, quote, any attempt by Hamas terrorists to return to Gaza. That is despite the fear that some of them have abductees. It is estimated that about 1,000 terrorists and infiltrators were killed in the area between the OTOF settlements and the Gaza Strip. It's not clear at this time how many were abductees were killed due to the activation of this command. So they're not clear on how many abductees. And this is like a month after. This article is from what date?
Do you know what this is talking about, Daniel?
Yeah, it's talking about the Hannibal Directive, which is the directive within the IDF to kill
So you just told us
any
that,
potential terrorists and Israeli captives indiscriminately. That's the Hannibal Directive. You want us to look that up as well?
Can you show us where in this article it mentions that this was at the Nova Festival? That was the question, because that was the claim.
It's talking about October 7th, so it's not limited to the Nova Festival.
Where does it mention the Nova Festival? That was your claim.
No, I said on October 7th.
You said Nova Festival.
It's not just, I said the Nova Festival and the kibbutzim. Do you know what kibbutz is?
Yes, I actually do know, Prof.
Okay, do you know? Well, I mentioned both of them. Didn't I? I didn't say that this source is saying only the Nova Festival.
Would you agree that punishing private companies for political speech/boycotts is infringing on the First Amendment? I get you saying it's stupid, but it's even more retarded to punish private companies for boycotting any country.
Again, I don't know exactly how I feel about it. There's, like, you could consider it a greater threat to rights and democracy to not commit some sort of action to disincentivize boycotting in that circumstance. So, I don't know. They're also not prohibited from boycotting. It's just that they can't get any, like, government grants or something. So they can still boycott. It's just that they don't get some government benefits if they do it. Which, I mean, I don't see how that's really a problem. Thanks for the donation, anti-IBS.
So you do not. So you don't agree.
Your line of questioning.
So you don't agree.
I've established everything that you asked me to establish.
Daniel,
so
do
now
you know
it's
what
my turn to ask you.
Do you know what this article is? Do you know what this article is?
We read it. We read it clearly.
The article is talking about vehicles that passed the border and went into the Gaza Strip.
Yeah,
they were talking.
That's where the conflict. That's where the casualties supposedly happened on the border. It's talking on the border. Where do you think?
Hold on 1 second.
Where do you think
Hold on,
supposed
one second.
to prevent them from coming back?
Gentlemen,
You have no idea what you're reading.
Yeah, we just read it. We just read it.
Or I should say your passion. So what I have to do is really quick. I just want to jump in just to be sure, because there's so much speaking over you that I just want to be sure that everybody's able to hear both of you one at a time, though. So go ahead. I think that you were saying, Apati Prophet, that there was something going on in the article, and then I think something to the effect of, Daniel, you were saying just at the border. I want to give you guys a chance first, AP, if I got that right, and then we'll go to Daniel.
Yeah, his claim was that that it is confirmed that helicopters came in and killed people at the Nova Festival. No such evidence exists. It's nowhere. The article is talking about how Israel attacked vehicles which crossed the border. It says very clearly there to prevent them from coming back, where excessive force may have been used, which may imply the Hannibal Directive. It never says that was actually the order given. So fantastic.
The article says explicitly that the order was given. The Hannibal Directive was given. That's what we just read. Everyone saw it on the screen.
We just read it there. It's saying that it is implied, although it wasn't explicitly mentioned.
This is like the most pro-Israel website, and it's saying that this is the directive that was given. The actual directive is to kill any potential captives. So they fired indiscriminately, and they blew away 70 vehicles, and they're not sure how many actually had Hamas and how many actually had Israelis. The article said that we just read.
And where did they do that? Were they shooting inside Israel or
southern Israel, where all of October 7th, all the attack happened in southern Israel? It was at the festival. It was at the kibbutzim.
Nope.
You're like this type of trying to exonerate the IDF on the basis of these technicalities. I commend you on that. That's a very Israeli tactic, but it's also ridiculous. Like, people are seeing the article right there. Yeah, look at this article. Another article. Yeah, another article here.
By the way, to clarify this, the Hannibal Directive doesn't exist anymore. It was a directive in the past, which
then
is
why did they invoke it? Why does this article from a month ago talk about it then?
Which is why the article that we just read, which Daniel Kikic himself put on, directly says that an order was given, which is implies the Hannibal Directive. It never says that the Hannibal Directive was specifically ordered, because it can't be ordered because it is no longer officially a thing.
So the same thing that was implied. The article is meant. What is the Hannibal Directive then?
The article is about.
What does the article mean? What does the article mean that it was implied?
It says that they are supposed to, at all costs, shoot at the Hamas vehicles that are at the border to prevent them from coming back. That's what the article is actually.
No, that's not. What is the Hannibal Directive? What is the implied Hannibal Directive? Answer that.
Jesus Christ.
Richard I know that you are a man of culture, so I'm sure you will appreciate this beautiful music.
Great. Thanks for the donation, balls.
Exactly what it is: shooting at the targets, knowing that there may be Israeli abductees in the vehicles, which they made a difficult decision and decided to shoot anyway because they are preventing the thousands of Hamas terrorists from roaming inside Israel and coming back. That is what was the case there. It is not about helicopters shooting at the Nova Music Festival. You have no single evidence for that.
I didn't say they're shooting at the Nova Festival, just killing random Israelis. They're killing a mixture of what they thought were Palestinian fighters and Israelis. They indiscriminately fired, and they killed many of them, hundreds of them apparently.
Okay.
And you just acknowledged that that's the case.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you just explained that that's what the Hannibal Directive is, and that's what was ordered. Or was implied.
Explicitly described here many times that is not the case, but apparently you don't get it. Everyone else is getting it.
Yeah, we all heard you describe what the Hannibal Directive actually is. So let me read from the Mishnah Torah right now.
So do you have
your questioning? You've asked me plenty of questions. Now it's my turn to ask.
So you have nobody. You have
now let me ask you questions. Let me ask you some questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So Maimonides, the greatest legal scholar of the Torah, in Judaism says, if a Jewish male enters into relations with a Gentile woman, when he does so intentionally, she should be executed. She is executed because she caused a Jew to be involved in an unseemly transgression, as is the law with regard to an animal. This applies regardless of whether the Gentile woman was a minor of 3 years of age or an adult, whether she was single or married, and it applies even if the Jew was a minor of 9 years old. She, meaning the non-Jew, is executed. Do you, yes or no, do you condemn this teaching of the Mishnah Torah?
I would have to look into it.
Just assume, if put a conditional on it. If I presented it accurately, and people can go to Muslim Skeptic, they can go to the link and read it off of a Jewish website. If I've read it correctly and presented it correctly, do you condemn this? Yes or no?
If it was precisely presented in the very in the most correct sense, just like that, the way you read it, yes, I would condemn it.
Okay, so do you condemn the fact that in Judaism, if a Jew kills a non-Jew, he is not punishable by a Jewish court? Do you condemn that?
I do not condemn it because we cannot confirm that that is actually the case. The Talmud talks about punishments applied within a Jewish environment where Jews and non-Jews are judged separately, and Jews don't have proper jurisdiction over what actually happens to non-Jews.
No, we're talking about a Jewish majority,
which is discussed in the Talmud thoroughly. And you and I are not Talmud scholars.
Well, some of us know more about the Talmud than others, but
you clearly don't.
Yes, I do. And also Isreal Shahak, a Jewish historian and academic, when he says rabbinical authorities differ among themselves as to the precise details of the circumstances under which a Jew may rob a Gentile, but the whole debate is concerned only with the relative power of Jews and Gentiles rather than with universal considerations of justice and humanity. This may explain why so very few rabbis have protested against the robbery of Palestinian property in Israel. It was backed by overwhelming authority. He also says a Jew who murders a Gentile is guilty only of a sin against the laws of heaven, not punishable by a court. To cause directly the death of a Gentile is no sin at all. One of the two most important commentators on the Shulchan Aruch, which is a Jewish legal text, explains that when it comes to a Gentile, one must not lift one's hands to harm him, but one may harm him indirectly, for instance, by removing a ladder when he's fallen into a crevice. There's no prohibition there. So this apartheid, do you condemn this racial apartheid? Yes or no?
Can you read that final part one more time? The one that you just read?
Okay. The Shulchan Aruch explains that when it comes to a Gentile, one must not lift one's hands to harm him, but one may harm him indirectly, for instance, by removing a ladder after he has fallen into a crevice, meaning like a hole.
So
if you remove a ladder, okay, intentionally remove a ladder so that a Jew or a non-Jew rather cannot come up out of a hole, you'll kill him, but there's no problem there because it's indirect. You didn't kill him directly by shooting him or stabbing him. You just led to his death by removing the ladder. There's no problem with that. And even if you did kill him directly, you murdered the non-Jew directly, that's not punishable in any court of law. Now, this is very different than Islam. It's different from Christianity. This is specific to Judaism. So again, this is from an academic Jewish historian, well-known, Isreal Shahak. Do you condemn this, yes or no?
I can answer this very, very easily. First off, if it is presented exactly as it is, yes, I do condemn it. But here is the issue. You just read us a passage from a Jewish text, 16th century, by the way, on Jewish law, which says clearly that you may not directly lift your hand and cause harm on Gentiles, but you may do it indirectly, while at the same time during this whole debate you are saying that they are following their Talmud by going after Palestinians or non-Jews and directly targeting and massacring them. This is irrelevant. This is a contradiction.
The quote is not about war. In war, there's a different set of teachings. Even in Islam, there's a different set of teachings between war and non-war. So this is like such a stupid objection. In war,
it is actually
there's obligatory war. There's obligatory war, and then there's voluntary war. In both types of war, Jews kill non-Jews. Obviously, they're commanded to kill non-Jews. In the obligatory wars, they are commanded to kill not only men but also women, children, and infants. This is melchamet mitzvah. So this is standard Jewish law.
Okay, Daniel, you just said that this is unlike Islam, for example. Such a thing is not found in Islam, only in Judaism. Is it not true that according to Quran chapter 9 verse 29, it says that Muslims are to fight those who do not believe in Allah and don't accept the religion of Islam, fight them until they are humiliated and pay the jizya, upon which means, as Muhammad said it, that Muslims are...
Just gonna go take a piss and get a drink.
supposed to fight and convert the disbelievers, or make them pay jizya and become humiliated dhimmis, or kill and enslave them, which you even confirmed. Is that true, yes or no?
Yeah, Islam has jihad. I've had many debates on jihad and the rules of jihad. But what
So-
differs is that in Islam, according to the explicit command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as recorded in Hadith, found it in Sahih Muslim and elsewhere, your Muslim soldiers are not supposed to deliberately kill women, children, priests, rabbis, and the elderly. This is Islamic law. But in Jewish law, you are supposed to. It's encouraging you. It's obligatory to kill women, children, the elderly, and even infants, even animals. And this is coming directly from Deuteronomy, also Numbers within the Old Testament. So this is a very clear difference between Islam's rules of jihad and the Jewish rules of war.
Do you take creatine?
Yes, I take 10 grams of creatine per day. Thanks for the donation, YY. Alawali, donate $2, motherfucking bird break. Fuck the sand people bickering. Let me see. Oh my god.
All newly hatched ratites emerge from the eggs, ready to get up and go, almost from the moment that they break free.
Wow. Oh my god. Look at those little baby ostriches.
For large, vulnerable, ready-made meals, this is a shrewd strategy, which each of...
Oh my god.
Fucking kids is fine. Jews may be doing a little collateral damage is where I cross the line. Don't ask me if I think the civilian deaths from Hamas on October 7th were chill.
Yeah, Daniel's kind of an insane whack job Muslim apologist. Thanks for the donation, Daniel.
of the ratites has evolved in its battle to survive on the ground.
Oh my god, so fuzzy.
These ostriches will soon grow into the biggest birds in the world. Although today, as they take tiny steps across this vast landscape, that day seems a long way off.
Oh my god. Those are some good ostriches.
And that I've described to you.
So, according to you...
So, and then on the screen, I'm sharing the screen, the quote. People are contesting that this is part of the Jewish law. Here's the Mishnah Torah. This site is Sefaria, a Jewish site. It says, if, by contrast, a Jewish male enters into relations with a Gentile woman, when he does so intentionally, she should be executed. She is executed because she caused the Jew...
Oh my god, he keeps bringing this up. Who the fuck cares?
...to be involved in an unseemly transgression, as is the law with regard to an animal. So this is very clear. It's not just one verse in the Talmud saying that non-Jews are animals. This is in many, many Jewish texts, and it's found as a basic concept within Jewish law. And even in the case of rape.
Screw this gay-ass debate, it's boring. Let's watch some real content. I wanna clap dem cheeks so damn hard, why can't I have it?
She doesn't have any cheeks to clap, I'm afraid. She is far too skinny. Thanks for the donation, Jewish Muslim person.
A Jew can rape a 3-year-old non-Jew and then kill, and then the non-Jew is killed. The 3-year-old is killed by the authorities. Why? Because this is like bestiality. The Jew committed bestiality by having sex with a non-Jew. Mm-hmm. So this is the type of religion that you're defending.
Nowhere does it say that. Nowhere does it say that.
Nowhere does it say that. I'm showing you this on the screen right now on this Jewish website. This is the Mishnah Torah chapter, Forbidden Intercourse 12. Nowhere does it say what? That they're animals? It says it right here.
If you let me speak, I will actually... You cut me off halfway through a sentence and you deny what I just said before I even complete the sentence. That's how you operate. It is not allowable in Judaism to rape Gentiles or to rape anybody. That's not what the...
How are you? Donated $2 and he asks, how are you? Not doing particularly great, to be honest. My mental health is pretty much in the shitter, and I feel like I'm barely functioning. I have no energy. I am sleeping about 15 hours a day on average. So, yeah, not great. But thanks for the donation, dude.
Passage says. That's not what anything says. You made the very same claim about the rabbi, the grand rabbi of the IDF, Al Karim. You said that he said that the soldiers are allowed to rape their opponents. This has been debunked thoroughly. In fact, the very same rabbi, the very same year, I think a week after he published that supposed article, he clarified lots of people misunderstood this as condoning rape. I must clarify, under no circumstances is rape allowed. You can even find this. I mean, you often just post a Wikipedia article and highlight it on your Twitter page. Just go on Al Karim's Wikipedia article. You can find it right there. You can find it right there where he says it is clarified that he says rape is never permissible.
Yeah, after he got in trouble, for his remarks and went viral, then he clarified. But his original statement was that the soldiers can rape. That was his original teaching and his original statement. And then when he got in trouble, then he changed his story. So go to Reuters, if that's not authoritative enough source for you. Rabbi Colonel Eyal Karim, Israeli military chief rabbi designate, is seen in this handout picture, blah, blah, blah. Israel's military has nominated a new chief rabbi who seemed to imply in a past religious commentary that its soldiers are allowed to rape non-Jewish women in wartime. He implied it. This is like implying the Hannibal Directive, implying, oh yeah, just murder all of these potential Israeli hostages because we don't want to negotiate with terrorists. Like this, these are everything is implication.
I actually read this. I'm reading a statement right here, which is not from long after. It is from the very same time when he made that statement. He says, obviously, in our times, when the world has advanced to a level of morality in which one does not marry captives, one must not perform this act, which is also entirely against the army's values and orders. Because in the very article that was so controversial, he was talking about taking captives in wartime in ancient Israel. That's what it was about. And I don't know why you have a problem with this, considering that you are okay with sex slavery, including if the girls taken captive are 4 years old, which is your own statement.
No. There's a big difference between concubinage that is practiced again in all of these religions.
What a fucking idiot, dude. So he's fine with sex slaves, and then he's
because
complaining
in
about this.
the Mishnah Torah, you can kill the person that you've raped. So in Islam.
Oh, okay. So Islam is, the right way because you can't kill your sex slaves. Got it. All right.
You can't just rape someone. You have to take them as your concubine, which means you have to feed them. You have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to take care of them. If you have any children, those children are free and they're your children. But in Judaism, there are different rules, yes. But if you're fighting Amalek, if you're fighting the enemy of the Jews, you are allowed, the soldier can rape, basically you find a little girl in a Palestinian village in her room, and then you take her to an empty field and you rape her and then you can kill her. That is completely kosher according to Jewish law, according to the Mishnah Torah. We just saw the passage. We can cite many other passages as well. I read them in the opening statement. There's nothing like that in Islam. In Islam, you have to you cannot kill women and children at all deliberately. So there's no analogy here.
Deliberately, but you can kill them indirectly, and it doesn't matter, right?
If there is some kind of like weapon, like a catapult or something that, where there's potential casualties or civilians that indirectly are killed, then that's allowed. Just as a casualty of war, but not deliberately. Like, okay, there's women here, let's kill them. Within Judaism, it's obligatory within the obligatory wars to kill women and children.
You preached a lot.
Yeah, you haven't said anything. What's shocking is you have nothing to say about these rules.
Alright, let's play some video games. Kind of done reacting to this. It's just a little too retarded to keep watching. I'm gonna go grab the PS5. Oh, you're still awake? I didn't realize Jasmine was still awake, so, she's using the PS5 right now, but she says she'll be done in like a few minutes.
In Judaism, you have no condemnation, you have no question about these kinds of rules. You just accept it. You're an apologist for genocide, basically.
I literally talked about this right now. It's very funny. Your objection to calling you a pedophilia activist was that I misrepresented you because you are not a pedophilia activist. You advocate for child marriage, and now you're saying Islam is different because in Islam there is no child rape. There's only child, or there is no raping of captives. There's only marriage and taking care of captives while raping them. I want to cite a hadith, a report about Muhammad. And just to get your confirmation that I'm representing accurately, Muhammad's armies were raiding the polytheists, and they went to Muhammad and said, during our night raids, we kill the women and children of the polytheists. And Muhammad then says they are from them. Is that true?
Yeah, this is collateral damage, as I mentioned. This is collateral damage that they weren't intentionally. It was night and they couldn't see, and then in the morning they realized we have killed women and children.
So
and
no
then,
big deal.
Yeah, collateral damage in war. It's in every war you have collateral damage. You deny that? Do you deny that?
No, I completely accept it. That's also what's happening in Gaza right now. By the
But
way.
you failed to recognize the distinction that I made. There's a distinction between collateral damage and deliberately targeting women and children.
No, I
and
agree.
infants,
I agree.
which Jewish law prescribes. It actually obligates the killing of women and children. This is why we see over 8,000 children killed in Israel.
I'm going to grant something. I'm going to grant
just because I do want to be sure that we're focusing on what caused the war, and by that I mean usually people think the cause is.
Huh?